Let's see. Even better than Offermind recordings. I appreciate that. I'm hoping that they are. We in your head now with the fourth way. I was just able to correlate all the experiences I've been having as a seller with what you taught in terms of identifying the buyer and seller persona. It's good stuff, right? The 3 personas of the red ocean. I freaking love that part. That part for me let me enjoy my business again. Because before that, I thought I needed to take anybody's money just because they had it and they're willing and able. There's one more criteria: willing, able, and a dream, right? That's a big deal. And so what qualifies the dream? And that's where we go into the 3 personas of the red ocean. Awesome stuff. Also, what clicked was Russell popularized funnels. You don't have to invent the wheel just to get people using it. It's true. And we're actually going to talk about that a little bit today, actually, as we start out here. Frameworks, love it, love it. Biggest takeaway, one of them, using post-purchase customer innovations to determine what they want to buy. Isn't that awesome? Duct tape marketing. Love that concept very much. Let's see. I even asked you in the group. I don't know what you're saying. Sorry, brother. Missed session 2 but from session 1, it was selling all that fits your wallet. Now what you think to fill your wallet? Yeah, exactly. That's hard to get out of our way as an entrepreneur. Okay, let's go ahead and get started here. Give me just a moment. Title of the session is The Core Problem, but there's a lot of pieces to it. Okay, let's back off. Here we go. And actually, I gotta separate the chat again. I get too into what you're saying, and then I forget where I'm going. So let me back this up here. Colton is moderating, and so if you see your comment suddenly deleted, if you tell me I have big eyes or you make fun of me somehow, he's just gonna. What's funny is you don't know this, but Colton will actually get up and he flies to wherever you are. You don't know it because it happens so fast, and he takes scissors and he cuts your internet. It's really interesting. No, just no. Anyway, so I appreciate it. Appreciate what you guys are doing here, and thanks for taking the time. I promise I'll make it worth your time. I'm a time Nazi. I hate my time being wasted, and I promise this will be worth it. All right. Okay. Boom! What's going on, everyone? This is Steve Larson. Welcome back to the Offermind Masterclass. I'm excited that you're here. Thank you so much for taking the time today. We are in the 3rd session, and what we're going to talk today specifically about is the core problem. Now, this is a concept that I really wish I was taught as I first started entrepreneurship. What it really comes down to is understanding that most of the things that are taught inside of entrepreneurial mainstream folklore is dead wrong. And it's not so much wrong that I should say it's not so much that it's wrong, but timing matters a lot. And so a lot of the things that we take on and these new ideas that we'll take on, we just learn them too soon. They're true. We're just executing on things that we shouldn't be worrying about for a while. Okay. And so what I'm going to talk about today is the core problem. There's multiple things around this. The first thing I want to talk about, though, is frankly, okay, it's actually something that irks me a lot, especially in this entrepreneurial space. The biggest thing that kind of drives me nuts right now is that people don't tend to know what they should be doing next because there's so many inputs, and I understand that, but there's too much studying going on and not enough executing. I remember a while ago, I was probably in my 6th or 7th try as an entrepreneur, and everything was failing and everything sucked, and we were in college and it was cold, and I rode my bike everywhere, even in the winter. I got very good at riding my bike in snow because we didn't have another car. So here I am, this entrepreneur that he's not making any money, and I'm scared to death, right? It was an active fear of mine. Crap, I don't want to be that entrepreneur who's like kind of self-defeating or right? There's self-deceit going on, right? I'm an entrepreneur, but we're broke. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of you guys who watch this will see this. You'll probably be in that scenario at some point, or if you haven't already, and you're like, I'm an entrepreneur, but I can't own it because I'm not actually owning anything. I can't own it because I'm not making any money, right? And I was very much in that mindset, and I was freaked out and I was scared, and I didn't know if it was all going to work. I thought it would work, and I knew it was a matter of time. I didn't know it was going to take 4 years, but anyway, what was interesting is as I started going and biking back from campus one day back to our little tiny apartment, I'm biking back, and all of a sudden I have this realization. Okay, I was beating myself up, and as entrepreneurs, we can do that, especially if we don't feel like we're making it or that we're actually doing what we set out to do. And what was fascinating was I was biking back, and I'm beating myself up, and I'm asking myself these kinds of questions. I'm whipping myself, right? I'm asking myself these kinds of questions. Steven, why are you still broke? right? And I started beating myself up. This is a common conversation I'd have with me, myself, and I, which you guys likely have probably had those conversations as well. I was like, man, I know what I would do in that guy's business, right? And I'm biking back and I'm like, I know what I do over there. Why aren't they doing it? And I'm like, no, I know what I do in that guy. Why aren't they doing that? And I'm over here, this broke guy. You know what I mean? Like it was that was stupid. I was the broke guy judging everyone else's business, right? That's like the fat, overweight armchair quarterback who can't throw a football himself. You know what I'm saying? Not making fun of it, just saying that's exactly what I was doing, and it wasn't right of me. But I was biking back, and I'm judging people's businesses. Okay, I was. This was about 5-6 years ago, and I remember biking, and just like this honest conversation started in my head. Dude, why are you still broke? Why? Like, why are you still broke? And I'm biking, I'm going back, and suddenly I have this massive realization. Oh my gosh, I'm stuck in these learning loops. And it was the first time in my entire life I started asking honest questions about why we were still broke. I had been learning models. I had been learning the thing. I mean, I was studying. I was doing everything I could. But I believed that success for me was contingent on me learning something else, right? And I realized, again, I was stuck in these learning loops. And there was all this stuff that anyway, what I'm here to tell you is what you need to be worried about as an entrepreneur and what you don't, okay? The biggest thing, and I'm going to go several places with this real quick, okay? I'm just going to write this down so I make sure I get back to it. We have to understand that one of the most damaging ideas that is spread around in entrepreneurial mainstream world today is this concept of how you need to constantly be studying, constantly be learning. Now, this is going to probably rub a few people the wrong way, and let me explain it. I'm not telling you to not learn. I just told you how I learn, and I go deep and I dive deep and I love it, and it's the best. And frankly, it's a bit of a drug. Okay. I love it. I dive deep, but at key moments. Okay. You got to get out of these learning cycles, these learning loops where we start to say to ourselves, well, in order for me to have success, I must need to know more. And instead of taking action on the things we know we need to take action on, we start learning to feel the semblance of motion in our life. The semblance of motion, not actual motion. And so what you need to do is you need to step back and realize that, oh my gosh, there's a bunch of stuff that I'm not actually doing because I believe that I am an entrepreneur, because I believe that I am a CEO. Yeah, a lot of you guys, you're not CEOs yet. All right. Understand this. So you have entrepreneurship and you have being a CEO. Okay, being a CEO, understand, now, they're not the same thing, right? They're not the same role. A CEO, what's a CEO in the business of? You have that idea, that phrase, that saying where people say things like, hey, it's fine, don't worry about it. Yeah, that's all. Let me keep going here. You have to understand that the CEO, what is the CEO in the business of, right? When people say things like, hey, a CEO reads a book a week, man, get over it. You're not a CEO. You're an entrepreneur. They're different roles. Okay. There's two different roles. I need you to understand this. There's two very different roles. And this actually matters a lot for what we're going to move forward on as we talk about the core problem planner, because a CEO is in the business of systems. Okay. That's what a CEO is. And a lot of times when you're first starting out, you don't have systems. There aren't systems. There's no systems around. You are the system. Every time there's a support ticket that pops in, every time anyone asks for any kind of fulfillment, right? If you handle that different every single time, you don't have a business. You are the business. Okay. A business is nothing more than a series of systems that generates a lead and fulfills on it. That's all a business is. Okay. I want to write that down. Okay. That's what a business is. A business is not having a 1-800 number and all this stuff. Like it's just a series of systems that generate a lead and fulfill a lead. That's it. And that's what a CEO is in the business personally of doing. They're in the business of sitting back and looking like, okay, what are the systems I need to tweak in this? I'm not the system. I'm not the business. But what can I look from a top-down level and be like, okay, strategically, I should be moving this way. How can I put a person, a tool, or a process in place to be able to generate more leads, right? Or on the back end, right? Okay, let's look at the person, the process, or the tool that will be helping me fulfill on the lead more. Does that make sense? That's what a CEO does. But too many times people are like, well, a CEO reads a book a week. reads books like crazy. I'm just going to leave it there. Okay. But they read books like crazy and they go through all this stuff. You know how much input that is? I can't handle that much input. There are these times when you can learn and study and go deeply and dive in like crazy. And that's great. That's good. But most of the time, that's not what you need to be focusing on. You can't be the CEO of anything until you have something, right? Don't even worry about this role until you have learned how to do this role. The entrepreneur is in the business of solving problems. Okay. So while they're over here doing systems, these guys are over here with problems. Okay. They're in the business of solving problems. Now that's why I'm talking about it right now, because we're talking about what I call the core problem and a few other very key pieces in this that will help you design what your business actually does and understand the difference of what I'm saying here. I'm not saying you need to come over here and go build all this stuff and what's your freaking business card. I don't have a business card. I'm never going to have a business card. Okay. What's this like? What's this like? These are all great things. Okay. A lot of branding tends to come in this area. Okay. When I say branding comes second, that phrase comes directly from a lot of very successful companies. Okay. When I say comes second, it really comes like number 1,000. I mean, it's so far down there. Okay. I didn't have a logo for the main thing I was selling last year. We had pulled, I don't know, like 300 grand before I even had a logo, because the logo isn't why things convert, right? I was in the business. I still am. I'm in the business of solving problems. Now, once I actually have a solution to a problem, the next thing I can go focus on is becoming and taking on the role of a CEO. I don't stop being an entrepreneur, but I start taking on the role of CEO, and that's why I'm no longer the business. That's why today, right, and tomorrow and all these days, like podcast episodes drop on 22 platforms without me doing anything, right? We have leads coming in and that are auto being closed and fulfill on without me doing anything while I'm recording this, okay? We just had another one while I was preparing this, okay? We had a lead. Does that make sense? Because I'm not the business. And that was one of the biggest things I had to realize when I first started this out, is that I was the business. And that's fine for a while, right? But you're going to kill yourself if you keep trying to act like a CEO and you have to constantly be consuming all this information. That's stupid. That's stupid. Don't do that. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to focus on solving problems. And what I'm going to help you guys identify in this session today is what problem should you focus on solving? Because not all problems are created equal. And not all problems pay the same way when you solve them. Okay. And not all problems are fun to have as a business that you solve. So what I'm going to walk you guys through today is multiple ways to not only create a new opportunity, but I'm also going to walk you through the way that I go and plan which problem I plan to solve, which single problem I plan to solve. Now, I've talked about ClickFunnels a lot already inside these sessions. What is the problem that ClickFunnels and Russell Brunson focused on solving? And it's like the one thing they solve. Right? They do other stuff, but it came way down the line, right? The core focus of their business and what they solve for the marketplace is funnels, building them without being a tech team or tech-y yourself, right? That's important to understand, but most guys can't say that. Most people can't say that. This is what I'm in the business of solving. Like, oh man. So what I'm gonna help you guys do with this is we're actually gonna walk through a few different ways to create a new opportunity. And like I said, how to rank problems and identify what they are. Okay, this is some cool crap. I hope you guys like it. Anyway, let's see here. So we've got okay. Now back to when I was on the bike. So I had this major realization. Okay, this isn't what I realized, but I started realizing like, oh my gosh, I'm broke because of several things. First of all, I'm stuck in a learning loop, and I was trying to behave like a CEO, and I was consuming, and I was reading the next book, and I mean, there's benefits to that. Right? You can't draw from an empty well. And I was clearly stacking up lots of information, which was great. And it was awesome. But it's not what makes you money, right? It's not at all. Like learning another book has nothing to do with your wallet getting fatter, right? And so what I had to realize when I had to learn how to do was identify, okay, if I'm in the business of solving problems as an entrepreneur, what problems do I solve? And so I started learning how to go and say, this is the problem on the hill that I'm going to go for. This is where I currently am. And oh my gosh, I can't actually see what's in the middle, right? I hope it's going to be straight, but we all know it's not always straight. And no one executes that way, right? We try to, we do the best we can, but it looks more like that. And what's interesting is I actually only see the first few steps. And then after that, I don't see anything. I'm telling you this because this is a very normal thing for entrepreneurs to see. But there are things that I'm doing this week and next week that I've never done in my entire life. I'm telling you right now, in my business, scares the crap out of me sometimes, right? But I know enough for the next few steps. The rest of it's dark. This is a faith-based game. And if you have an issue with ambiguity, that's going to be real rough as an entrepreneur. Okay. Because all this stuff in the middle, you don't see it. You don't see it. And so all you need to be able to do is say, this is where I'm going. This is the problem I'm solving. This is where I'm going to get to. This is where I currently am, and have honesty in that. Don't rent a Lamborghini to take a picture just for a sense of status. Okay. I freaking hate that. Okay. If it's your Lamborghini, it's awesome. But if you're like trying to feel like you got a front, you got to get over that. Right? People can smell that. And you're going to have a hard time identifying a true real problem and where you currently are in relation to it. You won't get there. Right? And that's why it's such a big deal. You have to understand, like, you have to be able to know the next few steps, but that's it. The rest of them, guess what? As you move, a few more get revealed. And as you move, a few more get revealed. And as you move, a few more get revealed. And that's just how it happens. Okay. And too many times I'll coach these people and they'll be like, but what's step 97? And I'm like, have you done 96 yet? They're like, no. I was like, why are you caring about it? You'll figure it out as you go. Okay. This is to help promote what I call just-in-time learning. Okay. Just-in-time learning. And you're like, what does that do with the core problem? It has a lot to do with it. Okay. I'm going to keep going here. Okay. Just-in-time learning. I'm trying to give you guys like an overall 30,000 foot view, but of course there's all kinds of particulars. In fact, a lot of you guys yesterday were asking me, Stephen, how does it work in this scenario? Chill out. Focus on the single problem in front of you. If you can't name the goal you're going for anyways, why are you like, you have to start with that. Where are you trying to go? Because if you're like, what's the next step? And you don't know where you're going, like, who cares? It doesn't matter. Okay. So anyways, I call it just-in-time learning. And what we're going to be doing here is I'm going to help you understand that an entrepreneur is in the business of solving problems. And to solve a problem means you don't know the answer. And to not know the answer means there's going to be ambiguity already laced into this game. And if you can't handle that, you've got to redefine your relationship with what it means to not know an answer. And that it's okay. And that you aren't, you're not messed up and there's nothing wrong with you. Like we all do that, right? I'm doing stuff right now that I've never done. And that's just part of it. And as you learn to trust yourself, that's what confidence really, really is. Confidence is nothing more than trusting in yourself. And anyway, yeah, I'm trying to help you guys be able to have permission to trust yourself. Okay, here we go. So also on the bike, this is a pretty intense bike ride. Okay, I also started realizing and learning that there was a stark difference between what I was doing and what causes cash. Okay, I had already been doing a lot of door-to-door sales. I'd already been doing a lot of, and it was helpful. But what I had not ever learned or realized until that point was that I never realized that there was a stark, major difference between selling and marketing. Okay, and again, a lot of you guys have probably heard this, but I'm just gonna tell you, this is marketing versus selling versus closing. When I learned the difference between these three, and under this backdrop, we're able to move forward and what I'm actually going to teach you guys today. Okay, but when you understand the difference between marketing, selling, and closing, your ability to make your wallet fatter goes way up, because a lot of people think they're marketing and they're not. They're actually in the activities of selling, or they think that they're selling, but they're really not. They're just in activities of closing, and that's why it feels weird whenever they try to go sell somebody. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I've been there. We've all been there. Okay. So understanding these differences in the definitions between them is really going to be helpful to you. Marketing, and in fact, we'll toss branding in there too. Okay. Marketing. Okay. Marketing is the act of changing beliefs with the intent of a sale. Okay. Changing beliefs with the intent to sell. Okay. Sales, notice I didn't say logo. Okay. To market is to go understand where your market is. We choose the red ocean. And marketing means you're able to go call out that individual who's going to be the best fit for your sale. Make sense? Okay. Now that we're able to go and we're going to call out that person, we're going to go in and we're going to start doing things to change beliefs so that they see, I should go buy Steven's thing. OfferMind would be a really good thing to do. Oh my gosh, he's teaching this level of stuff for free. Oh my Lanta, you should all visit offermind.com soon. Oh, what? Okay. Sales is the act of presenting an offer and overcoming objections. Okay. That's all sales is. Hey, here's the offer. And in sales psychology, which I desperately love to study, I love sales psychology like crazy. What's interesting about presenting the offer, anytime anyone sees anything new, like we talked about yesterday, there's that knee-jerk reaction that they give without thinking. But I got to talk to my spouse. But it's not a good time for me. I'm not interested right now. Blah, blah, blah. And when you identify those things ahead of time, that's how. Anyways, I'll teach you guys how to do the sales message here soon. And I'm not a professional copywriter. Okay, marketing, sales, and then closing. All closing is logical reasons to act now. That's all it is. Logical reasons to act now. Okay. Buy one, get one free. Right. And then this is one of the ways you arm people to be able to fight against any kind of buyer's remorse post-purchase. Okay. Oh, well, it was half off. Oh, that's logical. Okay. It's a logical reason to act now. We are arming the left side of the brain for when all those hormones burn off, like we talked about last time. Okay. Logical reasons to act now. It was half off. Right. It's available till midnight. Like, oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. I'm gonna pre-arm people. I'm gonna pre-arm individuals to be able to come and say, hey, why did you do that? Well, I'm a smart marketer. Logical reason to act now. That's why I did it. Okay. Does that make sense? Here is very story-based. That's how we change beliefs. Here we're going in and we're presenting what we call the stack. That's what Expert Secrets talks about. But then also overcoming a lot of objections. And then when we finally get to closing, most people think closing is selling. It's not. Hey, well, this is something you need to act on now. Like, I'm selling you. Like, no, you're trying to close me and I haven't accepted your invitation to be sold, which is why it feels weird. Okay. So again, we're going back to the core problem. Why does this all matter so much? It matters like crazy because as you realize, what you're going to realize as we start to move forward is that your ability to market, like, not all problems are created equal. So I'm going to walk through here in a moment how to go in and tier out problems. And we can kind of rank them against this. How easy will it be able to spread the idea of me with my potential solution, right? How easy will it be for me to sell and create an offer around my solution to solve that problem, right? Because anyways, we'll get to that in a moment. We're going to list out a whole bunch of problems and we're going to actually map it against this. How simple and logical would it be for people to act now with ferocious pace, right? They stand up and they huck their wallet at you, whoosh, right? In order to come by. How easy is that? And there's a bunch of other criteria as well, but I just want to kind of pre-frame that a little bit here. All right, let me change gears real fast. And let's actually dive into this. The entrepreneur is in the business of solving problems, and they're experts at just-in-time learning. I don't need to know SEO, therefore I don't learn it, right? I don't know how to drive Facebook ads. I'm not saying that just to say it. I really don't know how to drive Facebook ads, and I don't care. I'm not ever going to learn how to drive Facebook ads. It's not where I want my expertise to lie. Okay, being choosy with horse blinders on is very, very key to success with all this. Okay. Ready? Let's dive into this. Now, a little while ago, it's probably two years ago. Yeah. Dang. Right. It was around 2 years ago. I went and I was running what's called the FAT event, the Funnel Hackathon event. And as soon as that event ended, I went and I got on an airplane and I was flying over to speak at an event. And I was exhausted. 3 days of stage is exhausting. Especially that kind of stage. And as we're flying over, it was a late flight. It was dark. And I'm sitting there and I don't know what it is about high altitudes, caffeine, and a little bit of dubstep, but I start having some of my greatest ideas when I'm sitting on an airplane. It's probably just because I sit still for long enough to have them. But I was flying over to this place and it's dark and this old woman is sitting next to me, this older lady. She's a nice lady. But I start having these premonitions. I mean, I start having these massive realizations. Oh my gosh, there are lots of ways to create a new opportunity. Lots of ways. Not just one. Not just what? And I start having these like, holy crap. And I took out a piece of paper. It's actually a legal pad. I usually travel with one. Usually there's always one in my backpack or the like. And I take out this piece of paper and I started drawing markets. And I started drawing some of the ways that I've been noticing are the easiest ways to create a new opportunity. And it was both from the observations of things that I was doing, but also a lot of what my students were doing in that FAT event at the time. And how some of them, what they were doing was not fitting the current model that I was teaching. And that disturbed me because I'm very focused on things that are applicable for many different platforms, many different industries, it doesn't matter the product, price point, or industry, right? That's where I've gotten to it now, which is awesome. But anyway, and so I started having these major realizations. I was like, this is insane. And this lady kept reaching over to me. She'd be like, because it was dark, and they had all the cabin lights off. And there was enough lights around me that I could see. Can you see? I was like, yeah, no, I can see it. I'm having these visions and stuff. I was like, don't interrupt the flow, And I was like, yeah, no, I'm fine. And I kept drawing. And then she asked again, really, you could turn the light on. Can you see? I was like, ma'am, thank you very much for your concern, And I was like, be quiet. Oh my gosh, I'm still having these visions, and I was drawing. And finally she was like, she kept asking. I was like, ma'am, like, I'm good. I'm ready to rock. I'm changing the world here, but anyway. And this is where I learned that. That's the only reason I told the story. Okay, but there's 3 actually, or 4 major ways to create a new opportunity. Now, a lot of the ways that are taught to create a new opportunity now are like this, and it's actually how I've been drawing it. And I have to have been able to go through yesterday's 2 sessions with you guys in order for this to make sense. Okay, but now that you understand it, this is some serious power. And I have watched a ton of money come to an entrepreneur by just organizing things in ways that they've not been organized yet, rather than creating things that are brand new. Okay, so let's walk through what these are here, okay? Let me get to them real quick here on my notes. Make sure that I've got the right thing here. Okay, check this out. All right, the first one that I call it here, I call it the red ocean evolution. Okay, and this is so red ocean evolution. And this is really what I've been drawing lately, okay, for you guys. Okay, now the concept is here. I'm gonna either be selling health, wealth, relationships, okay, and I'm gonna go through these same examples again, okay. You're like, stop drawing that. No, it's important, okay. And I'm over here and I'm selling whatever, and I've got this market here. Here's the red ocean. Here's the scenario: is I'm going to evolve on the current solution available, and I'm going to sell something that's different and new rather than better. If I'm going to sell things that are better, I stay in the red. If I sell things that are new and different, I leave the red and I can create a blue. Okay, but what I'm saying is to the people in here, this vehicle is no longer adequate. You need this plus this over here, right? It's a this plus this sentence that creates. You need this vehicle plus what's over here in the blue ocean, okay? You need red ocean plus my new thing in order to be successful. An example of this would be like, hey, you need, yes, real estate is the right way for you to go get wealth in, but real estate, just doing it the old ways, is not actually effective. You need real estate plus eBay. You need real estate plus this, right? It's this in addition to. I don't know if this might go kind of deep with it, but I just want you guys to understand, like, there's a specific place I'm getting to with this. So just kind of stick with me on it, okay? It's you need red ocean plus this in order to be successful. You need red ocean plus this in order to have wealth. This plus this in order to have health or relationships, okay? That's the first one. Okay, the second one, and let me just kind of draw them out here, then I'll explain them and kind of dive through a little bit more deeply as we move forward, okay? So as I come over here and go to this next one, the next one is, it's funny, there were 3 on the airplane I thought of, but there's actually a 4th that I realized last September. Well, it's really like August, October-ish. Anyway, whatever. Okay, this one is what I call the fresh start. And what I'm trying to help you guys understand is that this is kind of like the last plug back into market positioning that I'm giving here, because I'm trying to help you understand like really easy ways to create a new opportunity, right? You can create a new opportunity when you're being different or new, right? If I'm different or new, I can create a new opportunity. If I am better, faster, stronger, anything right? That is an improvement-based offer, and you'll stay inside the red. Okay, so the red ocean evolution, that's the name of this one. The next one, though, it's called the fresh start. And I'll give examples. We'll stick with the real estate example just to kind of keep the theme the same. Mostly because we all probably have lived in a house or an apartment at some time in our life, right? We're probably familiar with the ideas. What I'm saying. Okay, so the fresh start here is we got health, wealth, relationships. We got the red ocean. Okay, and we're over here and we're saying we want wealth through real estate. Okay, what's interesting about the fresh start is the sentence that creates the fresh start is don't do wealth through real estate, do wealth through stocks. Does that make sense? It's an abandonment. You are saying to the people, abandon the current vehicle. Here, you're not saying abandon. You're saying this in addition to. You're saying okay, here, what we need you to do is come over here and we're going to abandon that red ocean. We're going to abandon that vehicle. That's no longer adequate. Come over here to my new vehicle. Okay. Blue ocean, right? For them. And so the sentence looks like abandon current vehicle. Just abandon it altogether, right? And the other one you're saying you can salvage it. You just need Real Estate Plus. You got to use the internet. Real Estate Plus, it's an extension of the vehicle. Okay. In this one though, you're not saying that. You're actually saying, abandon the vehicle overall. You're not going to get wealth through that vehicle anymore. You actually have to completely get rid of that. That's a dumb vehicle for you to go through. Get rid of it. It's no longer adequate. You must come over here to this new area now, which is completely different. It's not an extension of, it's not an addition to, it's not new or different, right? It's completely an abandonment of that red ocean. That make sense? Okay. Again, follow me a moment here with this as we keep going on this, because this is one of the easiest ways to create a blue ocean. And this is what I'm going to tell you guys, right? This is one of the easiest ways to create a new opportunity inside your business. And these are the patterns I started looking at for all the students that were coming into me for the fat event and all these, like the 2 Comma Club coaching and 2 Comma Club X and One Funnel Away and my own programs, my own consulting is like, holy crap. You took this and put it in relation in the market sense from here to over here. And that's why it works so well. And that's brilliant. And it was extremely easy and genius. Like, holy crap. Sometimes we make it this way harder than it needs to be. So I'm trying to teach this, like, I try to get more and more simple as I do this. Hopefully it's working because I want you to have the aha soon. Okay. All right. This next one here is called the audience switch, and it is one of my favorites. Okay. So there's 2 more, or there's 1 more after this one. Now, this is the one that I left my job with because it's one of the easiest ones to go create at least sustainable revenue with. It's also one of the easiest ones to create like replace 9-to-5 income with. I call it the audience switch. What you're going to do in this one is, okay, check this out. It looks similar. It's kind of a combination of these 2 here. And this is the one that I started seeing a lot of people who are making a ton of money quickly. This is actually what they were doing. All right, watch this. So what you're going to do, right, is we have health, wealth, relationships. And let's say that we are talking about, again, real estate, and this is the red ocean. Okay, what you're going to do in this one is, this is actually how I was able to go in. Like one of the markets I went and I started selling stuff in was the MLM space, and I talked to you guys why. And one of the reasons why I did it though is, guys, you don't always need to create the blue ocean. Sometimes you can just take the existing vehicles, the existing blue oceans, the existing new opportunities that others have created and present it to people who've never seen it. To them, it's a new opportunity. Is it really? No, it's been around for a while. But to them, is it a new opportunity? Yeah. Yeah, it is. This is important. This is huge. So what I did is I went and I took, let's say the blue ocean here is ClickFunnels, right? And I'm going to go and I'm going to say, okay, yes, real estate, that's a great vehicle for you to go get wealth in, but not as it's being done, right? It's going to look the same as some of these others, but it's actually not. Okay. What you're doing is you're taking an existing blue ocean. So I'm actually going to draw it solid. It's an existing blue ocean, and you're going to sell it to people who've never seen it before. Okay. So what I did is I went and I took the concept of funnels and I brought it to the MLM space. Right. People hadn't really done that. So I was the first. That was like 2 years ago. It's about 4 years ago the first time I actually did it, and then 3 years ago was my second attempt, and then 2 years ago I actually did it, and it was awesome. And uh, funnels already existed. I'm not the one that pioneered it. I'm not the one that created the ocean. I'm not the one that created the vehicle. I'm not the one that created it. All I did was I combined things in a way that had never been done before. That's it. And it's one of the easiest ways to appear very creative. I'm really not. What I am is I sit back and I look at parts and I look at pieces and I connect them. Is there a connection? Can I? What if? And then sometimes I'll be like, oh my gosh, that connection right there, no one's done it. Right. And the more and more I've done it, the more and more I've been able to identify those things. And many of my friends now, they're off creating these huge, awesome, successful businesses. Not that they're the most talented in the industry. It's that they're the first in the industry to do that. Right. It's really easy to make a lot of money when you're the only option. Right. And that's why this is so important. It's so big. It's the audience switch. Right. While people over in the ClickFunnels space were all these other people over here, not many people were doing it over in this MLM spot that I was doing it in. So all I did is I just switched the audience. Same opportunity. Someone else created it. Someone else created the red ocean. Just really easy. And when you guys understand how awesome that is and how powerful it can be for you, that's a huge deal, right? Let me know if you guys like that, because that's a huge hack to the game. What I started noticing, there was all these people, I didn't just notice it. Like I was speaking with them. They were some of my students, and I was like, how is it that you got, oh, interesting. They're like, yeah, no, I don't know how to do anything in that vehicle. I don't know how to do funnels. I don't know how to do whatever. They were just the face that brought an existing thing to a big crowd that largely had never heard of it. And so they were the face that brought it in. They were the face that held the flag and brought it. I love this strategy. Okay. So the sentence in this one looks like this. It's a new opportunity. New opportunity. I know. It's a new opportunity. But for them. But only for them. Forgot the only. It's a new opportunity, but only for them. Right? Then this is one of the key statements throughout this. All right. Hopefully this is making sense. Stick with me a little bit. Again, I know this is a little bit all over. Well, it looks like that. It's very planned. Okay, so next one. All right, now I call this one the piggyback. All right, check this out. And this is one. So right now in my personal business, I execute these two quite well. I'm not actually that prolific of an individual for a lot of my products and such. I love studying, love going deep, love figuring out like cool connections and stuff like that. Some people are really good at getting people to abandon their current vehicle overall. That's awesome. I'm actually not. Some people are really good at taking something existing and saying, you need this, but in another light. So you're saying, yes, but I'm really good at saying, here's a new opportunity. Like you still need this new opportunity, which is great. But then I take an entire ocean. Like the ocean doesn't exist in this one. That's why it's different. I like to take existing things that are already there and just combine them in ways that have never been combined. Okay. The other way that I like to do it though, and this is again, my other personal favorite way to do it is this. So if we go in here and look at this, so we got health, wealth, relationships again. So I'm going to choose one of those. So this is how I currently do it. Now, if you have the red ocean here, make sure you guys can see it. We got the red ocean. Okay. What I like to do is, again, it looks similar to this one, but anyway, it's actually not. In a lot of these, what you're doing is you're saying that vehicle doesn't matter anymore. And let me go through an example of this again and stick with me as I do this. But like ClickFunnels, my market is ClickFunnels, right? Anyone who's in the ClickFunnels space, that's who I target. I want to support them. I want to help them be more successful. I'm not saying to abandon the ClickFunnels market, right? That model doesn't hold true for what I personally do and how I positioned myself. Okay, I call this the piggyback because what I do is I figure out how I can combine what I'm doing to an existing moving thing. Okay, I'm not saying abandon. I'm not saying it's not good enough. I'm not taking things that exist already though, right? I'm not saying this plus. What I'm doing is here's why. what I've done is I've identified a place inside of the ClickFunnels sphere that no one's really standing, and I decided to stand there. Okay. In order to have success with ClickFunnels, you really need to understand offer creation, right? Not that you need to be this techie psycho. You don't need to be a Russell or a Steven or a Julie or you don't need to be in order to be successful. You don't need to. You don't. That's not true at all. Okay. But we have to understand is what I did is I identified something in the red ocean, right, in the market. And I would not consider ClickFunnels to be a red ocean at all. I don't think it's red at all. But what I did, I identified something in it, and I became the person for that. Okay, so that's kind of how it works. That makes sense. This works really well. In my honest opinion, it's one of the only ways to take advantage of an ocean that isn't red yet. Okay, I built a new opportunity, but really I'm an accelerant to the current opportunity. You get that? I've done my best to brand myself, to combine myself, to label myself as one of the people inside of the current ocean. I'm not building a new ocean. I'm standing at a place that's needed in the current ocean. Make sense? So the sentence like this would look like, for success with this vehicle, success here, success for that vehicle requires X, right? Requires me standing there. Okay. Does that make sense? What I'm trying to help you guys understand with this, and I know I'm going kind of deep on this, and there's not enough story to make it as interesting as I possibly can. So what I'm trying to help you guys understand with here is that when you think strategically about how one of the ways you want to create a new opportunity, right? Because you want to be a new opportunity. You want to go step into a zone that no one's really been. And we're going to talk about that more as we move forward. That's why the core problem is such a big deal. And we'll walk through that in a moment here. But I need you to understand this, because if you can understand, like, okay, in my mind, I'm going to do the fresh start. I'm going to go talk to people and tell them that the current vehicle they're in is completely wrong. And it's not like it's an addition to real estate. It is an abandonment overall of real estate to come over and do stocks or whatever. And this one, it is, right, we're saying you need this, but really this entire different thing accelerates that. Right? And this one, you're saying, the audience switcher saying, hello, current vehicle. I like your current vehicle. Did you know this other one already exists, which you didn't create? You just combine them and be the face of the combination. That one's awesome. One of my favorites. That one makes a lot of money typically out of the gate, usually quickly, because you're taking something that's already proven. It takes a lot of effort and energy to build a market. Take something that's already built, and you're just the person that found a new audience, and you combine to it and be the face of it. That's really easy. That's awesome. Most of the testing, that's a very risk-free way to play the entrepreneurial game. And many do that. A lot do that. I didn't know that until I started observing it in all these students. I was like, oh my gosh. Anyway, and then over here on the piggyback, like what's cool about this one is that it's not, I shouldn't call it a red ocean because it's not red. So the timing in this one matters tremendously. I know that I wouldn't have the stats, so it's just an ocean, right? Or actually, rather, it's a new opportunity. It's a new ocean. It's a new opportunity. So when you see these new opportunities pop up and they're not quite red yet, there might be room for you if you desire to be the face of part of that vehicle. And that's what I've really tried to position myself as, right? One funnel away coach doing this stuff. I'm saying, yes, stay with funnels. Yes, do ClickFunnels. I'm not saying I'm not over here saying get rid of ClickFunnels. I'm not over here saying, no, that's not what you need. I'm over here saying, yes, ClickFunnels, and I can help accelerate your speed inside of it, right? So I'm not actually breaking out of it. I'm selling back into it. Make sense? But the benefit of this one, what's cool, is that you can sit on the back of momentum that's already been at work before you got there. If you're really good. Cool. Helpful? Okay. I'm going to pause real quick here, and we're actually going to look at some questions because that's some deep crap, and I don't want you guys swimming before we get to the next piece. Okay. Let me come over here to the comments real fast. All righty. Sweet. Just tuned in, watching at 1.5 speed to catch up. Nice stuff. Great stuff to get that clarity. Love it, love it, love it. I'm so sad I never got the text alert for the first show. Yeah, it sucks. So basically, the 3 definitions are a linear process on a sales page. You tell a story, then present a stack, then you close. Yes, Kevin. Yep. That's basically it. In a funnel overall, there's a hook, there's a story and an offer, but then also individual on each page, kind of from a top-down view, hook, story, offer. Next page, upsell, right? Next upsell offer, upsell closing, right? Definitely. Let's see. Caffeine dubstep equals heart explosion. I have 8 legal pads in my in my bag. That's funny. Be nice to the old ladies. I'm being nice. I was just in the middle of a premonition. Bold asset. You should try Rocketbook. I've seen those. I like paper. Entrepreneurial, great problem solving, just in time learning. Definitely sound levels drop whenever Steve turns away from the mic. It's probably because the mic's this way. So I'll make sure. Thank you so much for telling me that. I found a quick fix. Turn up your volume. Sorry. We'll make sure that we're ready to rock on these still. Okay, Dominic all the way up. Oh, then my smart. Maybe try headphones. Okay, so grateful for this opportunity. Thanks again, Steve. Hey, appreciate that. This is pure fire. Thank you very much. Wouldn't the audience switch be like selling to a warm market or cold audience? But this is a way you saw people make a lot of money. Can you explain? Because it sounds contradicting. Wouldn't the audience switch be like selling to a warm market or cold audience? So one of the things that is a qualifier for somebody to be a customer in a market for me is that they need to be buying and using what that market sells. Does that make sense? So I don't consider those people. So what I'm really looking at is like, there's hot, warm, and cold traffic for sure inside of it. But remember, I'm only speaking to those who are the type ones. They're using it and they hate it. So because of that, I'm only talking to those people in there. I'm only trying to only speak to those people who are feeling already a sense of pain with the current solution. So then when I come to them and I show them, hey, did you know this other thing over here already exists? They're like, what? And you're the face of it and you bring it to them. That's why that works well. Thanks so much. Genius Steven. Hey, thanks so much. Effing awesome. Thanks, Jude. Audience switch. That is huge and possibility secret to my project. Yeah, it's a huge deal. Like, holy crap. Something that's already there. It's one of the fastest ways to hack the game. Love learning that concept audience switch. Now I have the name, what I've been establishing my company. Not audience switch. You're speaking to the people, like the opportunity, but don't like the vehicle. Come join us where it's different and better. Different and new, as long as it's not better. But definitely, yeah. Thanks for responding. I'll read it when he takes a break. I can barely keep up if I do both. So audience switch, are you still identifying a dream customer in a red ocean and taking them to an existing blue ocean solution? Yes. Yes, Jeff. So here, exactly as I was just saying, right? I'm still doing everything we talked about yesterday. I'm learning about the red ocean. I'm studying them. That's the reason why I know how to sell, and I understand the ClickFunnels audience so well. It's because everything I was talking about yesterday, I do, and I focus on, boom, just ClickFunnels, right? Like ClickFunnels is my market. ClickFunnels is the one that I study and go deeply to. Like I sell to them, but also everything I do supports the current thing they're using, and I want them to have success with it. I'm not saying abandon that vehicle. Same thing with over up here. I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing all that deep dive, the red ocean analytics. That's why we call it that. Red ocean analytics, red ocean analytics, red ocean analytics. You crazy man. Thanks. And is the offer creation space within ClickFunnels? Exactly. I am in the offer creation space within ClickFunnels right there. I carve out a little piece right there of that pie, and I'm trying to represent that in the ClickFunnels space. So I am complementary, not competitive, to the momentum that ClickFunnels has already built. Steve took us what has been taught in the ClickFunnels audience and switched the audience to them and started teaching them the same things that were taught in the ClickFunnels audience. Yeah. Oh, what's up? Colton said that. Let's see. This is awesome. Pure gold. Not sure I fully understand the piggyback. That's okay. That's totally fine. That's actually one I realized like 6 months ago. So bear with me while I try to find more ways to explain it. Sometimes it takes me a little bit. So my bad. And then whoever. Okay, there we go. I haven't gotten any texts either. Yeah, sorry about that. That's so deep. It's crazy. It's a little deep. I know it is. Don't think anyone's teaching this anywhere else. I don't think so either. Haven't gotten texts either. Best notification to me has been subscribed to the channel with a bell active notification. Oh, hey, that's great. Thanks, Rich. Appreciate that. And then we'll see if we can figure out the rest of that stuff. Makes so much sense, but still need to let it become a belief by listening to what you just shared over and over again. Your method of teaching is so in line with how I learn. I appreciate that. I am a massive believer that yes, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, but the teacher can show up ready to rock and kick teeth in. You know what I'm saying? I don't got to show up and kowtow. Anyway, these are just 4 approaches, expert secrets to create the big idea behind the hook story offer. Yeah, expert secrets particularly teaches this one. That's when I was like, that's when I would always teach. And then I realized like, oh my gosh, based on actual market positioning, what it's really teaching is this: abandon the current vehicle, but it's drawn like this. It's fascinating, right? Anyway. Would the fresh start approach be the least desirable of these 4? It looks like it'd be the most convincing. It would take the most convincing. Norman, fresh start. In my mind, yeah. Right? Because I got to be honest with you here. Like I want you guys to be rich. And when I say that, the reason is because I believe that you need to first change your world before you have the capacity to change the world. Right? And so, does that make sense? So when I'm ready to go change the world, the fresh start approach is definitely one that I'm going to go for. But it's the one that I dedicate, like my life gets dedicated to that. I actually know what that is, and I'm excited to execute it. But I am definitely executing mostly this one right now in my main thing, and this one in kind of my back end business. So I think you can execute them at separate times, at different times, things like that, as far as market positioning goes and how you actually gather all your data. So learn how to get rich. There's nothing wrong with it, and it doesn't happen by accident. You got to actually have purpose behind getting rich. Then you can change the world with speed, right? Money is faster than time. Let's see here. Help them have success. Definitely aha moment. Red Ocean Evolution may just be the answer to what I've been struggling with. Market, new and different breathing exercise. Yeah. Oh, cool. Hey, I'm glad that helped. When the piggyback be an improvement offer? The reason why it isn't is because I'm not making a new offer. I'm helping them have faster results with the current offer. Does that make sense? I'm not saying abandon vehicle. Like in a lot of these, I'm saying this is good, but like you really need this to have success. So that vehicle's broken. A lot of these I'm saying it's broken or abandon it, or that's broken. So you also need that plus what I'm going to develop over here. Does that make sense? Here, I'm staying within the same market. I'm saying use that vehicle, but let's accelerate your results and let me be the face of that as the offer creation guy. Make sense? So branding, what would be in your words? Branding for me is branding really helps with second money, right? It doesn't really do much for first money, in my complete honest opinion, and most other successful companies cite the same kind of thing. It doesn't help so much with first money, meaning the first time you get a sale with an individual, but second money, branding can certainly start having an effect. Anything you start to upsell them afterwards, branding helps like crazy. As far as a condensed definition, I don't know that I can drop one on you right now. I don't study branding. I study how new and existing entrepreneurs expand. Rarely ever a facelift making things look better. Like I've never found that to be the answer. Like there's like 4 or 5 things that always make their business increase. And when I just run those, they're like football plays, man. I can go into any of them. Like we'll 2x their sales, it's like change their entire business. And branding has never been one of those answers. It starts to matter more for sure in second money and more expensive style packages, but it's not why they buy. I'm not the branding guy, and I don't really want to be. Branding kind of drives me nuts. I don't think so. You're not creating a new instance of the vehicle. Yeah, exactly. You're just building on top of what exists. Definitely. Exactly. Piggyback would be when someone becomes the expert of one aspect of the process for success and sells the same. Exactly. Yeah. Do you have URLs where we could see the 4 offers in action? No. So what I do is I try to develop an entire value ladder around that style. So there's a specific value ladder. I'm designing the marketing positioning of my entire business under one of these premises. So I have, I've got offers inside of the value ladder for the MLM stuff. I've got offers, the entire value ladder that I'm building out for my offer business, right? There's offers just with this positioning. You know what I mean? I know where they're leading, and it's going to be for one of these, and it's going to be extremely aggressive, and I know exactly what it is, and we are starting to put things in motion for it, and it is going to kick mainstream national entrepreneurship in the teeth on a very public scale. Anyway, that is all I'll say it is. When you come to OfferMind, I'm actually going to drop out what it is and give you guys an opportunity to be on it. Anyway, change referrals makes sense. Is there an elite or preferred or platinum OfferMind waiting list? I don't want to miss out on this, man. You're going to change my life, my kid's life. Thank you to you and Russell. Hey, thank you so much, Matt. I really appreciate that. We take this very serious. It's fun, but it's serious business because it changes lives. Man, we haven't even gotten into like the main thing yet. Okay. Whew. You guys ready? Buckling up here. No, there's not. If you just go to the main OfferMind waiting list, that's the best way. But stay tuned with these as well, because we'll definitely give you guys a way. Actually, I think there is a way. Anyways, WeatherTech car mats. They aren't coming out with cars with those mats. The car exists. They're piggybacking off the cars already selling. Yeah, right. Yes. There you go. Right. They're piggybacking off of the markets already existing. Here's how you can accelerate your process inside of the current, literally, vehicle that you're in. Is there replay anywhere? Missed day one? There's not. All replays end at midnight. Confused a bit. You mentioned today that you target number one persona where the problem is solution aware. Here you are convincing them to abandon their vehicle so they aren't aware. Right. No, what I'm doing is I'm bringing awareness in. You have to understand with the whole Eugene Schwartz thing, hot, warm, cold, hot traffic, I'm going one past hot. So hot traffic is defined by Eugene Schwartz as someone who's problem and solution aware. I'm not actually targeting them when I'm actually building out a value ladder the first time. We're going to talk about that. I'll talk about value ladder structure and design here a little bit later. But I'm going one past that, because somebody who's hot traffic, by definition, they don't need to be a buyer of the red ocean vehicles to be qualified as hot traffic. They just need to be aware of problems and aware of solutions. I'm saying go one beyond it to buyers. I want someone who's hot, who is a problem and solution aware and a buyer. So it's an additional filter, I guess you could say, on the top of it there. Red Ocean Evolution is like introducing a new mechanism to the market. Okay, hey guys, I'm going to keep going here. Okay. All right, here we are. Ready? I'm going to erase this, and we're going to actually start diving into so the 4 ways to grow a company. We're going to walk through 4 ways to grow a company. This is all setting the stage for what I call the core problem, which you're going to just, the reason we're walking through this is so you understand, like, there's different kinds of problems that you can go and solve, right? Problems are a gift. They're a gift to entrepreneurs, and not all problems are created equal, though. Right? If I'm going to go solve this problem, that's a very different kind of problem to go solve than the problem of this one. Does that make sense? I'm starting to help you guys categorize what it is that you're going to go do and create and build and dedicate an entire value ladder or business to solving. Okay. All right. So this is all leading up to it. Okay. All right, let me hide the chat here again. Everybody, let's give Colton a round of applause. He is over there in the same exact position for 5 or 6 straight hours a day. That's got to be rough. Give him a little shout out. That'd be awesome. And he has the worst job right now, way worse than mine. He is the puppy dog for all the sad, sick, little small-minded children who try to come in here and just throw crap at us. And I get to pat them on the head and say, oh, you weak little small-minded individual, good luck with your hopes and dreams, never come back. But he's the muscle that's actually doing it. So thank you to Colton for moderating, and thank you so much for, he's the tech behind all this. So, all righty. A little glare on the screen there. There we go. Fix a little. All right. You guys ready? Okay. All right, guys. Hey, now we're going to go in and we're going to talk about the 4 ways to grow the business. And this is going to be super short, but I just want you guys to have attention to what this is. Now, this is helpful for those of you guys who already have a business. And it helps if you don't have one either. So you can be a little bit strategic with it. I got to be honest with you. Right now, as I'm standing here and I've been like staying up super late and getting all these things like prepared and stuff like that, I cannot remember for the life of me who it was that actually said this. There are 3 ways to grow a company. I'm going to add a 4th. Okay, based on market positioning and the stuff that I've been teaching you guys so far. Okay, so there's 4 ways, but we're gonna start with the 3. The 3 ways to grow a company, right? There's only 3 things you can do. You can have more customers. And we typically do that through what we call an acquisition funnel, meaning I'm going to acquire more customers and more blood in my, and most people will run to that as the sole default way to grow a company. It's not the only way. Okay. There's styles of funnels and offers that are very good for that in particular. This will be helpful as we move forward and I start to show you what the core problem we create or identify will develop a core offer and then the funnel that develops it and one of the best ways to launch it as well. Okay, I'm going deep, man. I'm going super deep. And I only have till tomorrow's session to go through all this stuff. There's a chance I don't get through all of it. Anyway. Okay, the next way, number 2, the second way to go and grow the company. A lot of you guys likely already know all this. The second way to go and grow a company is by getting them to pay more. Okay, pay more, right? Anyway, we call these monetization funnels. Meaning I'm going to take current customers, right, and I'm going to have them pay more money, second money, as another way that I'll call it. And I'm not just calling it that. It's actually called that, like post money. There's pre-money and post-money, right? When you're post-money, when you're actually making money as a business, when people are actually giving you cash. Second money is the second sale you bring on in. It's usually way easier than first money. Anyway, the third way, I'm going to run out of space. Third way to grow is just get them to pay more frequently, right? So you could add a level of continuity inside there. I'm sorry, this is monetization. The other one's ascension. It's so funny because there's really multiple ways behind it. There's ascension, monetization, and ascension. There we go. But these two are really switched. There's multiple ways to do it, just so you know. You could acquire them. You could actually monetize more on who currently is there. You could ascend them to more things that are more expensive. The fourth way that I like to go and actually grow the company, though, actually has to do with a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about. Now, with this backdrop, let me talk about the fourth way here. And again, I'm going to draw it real fast. But just understand that, right, you can get more customers. You can get customers to pay you more money, or you can get customers to pay you more often. Okay, increase the frequency. Okay, more customers, more money that they pay, or more frequency and how fast they pay you. I'm going to call this the fourth way. It's kind of it's kind of like it's kind of like a second point. It's almost like 1B. But check this out. Again, last thing here on the marketing positioning here, probably won't be, but this is one of the easiest ways for the longevity of your company. Okay. Now, the first way I learned this was actually by observation sitting next to Russell. And what happened was he came and he was actually speaking at an event. Actually, I think it might have been a Grant Cardone event. This was several years ago, though. And what was fascinating is Russell goes in and he starts selling and he pitches from stage. And, I stayed back. I was building stuff. I was building all kinds of funnels. It was awesome. I enjoyed it. And what was fascinating was there was a moment where he finished pitching and they sold well. And I'm hoping I'm telling the story right. As he's leaving stage, this is how I learned this. As he's leaving stage and leaving the event, a small group of people come up to him and say, Russell, that was absolutely amazing, man. I would totally buy that. But I'm in the B2B space. And Russell was like, B2B space is one of the biggest groups of people that use this. They're like, we can use this and for us being in the business to business space. And they were like, yeah. Now, what we learned about that is, so he came back and he told us that story. And what we learned, what we realized is that inside of the script, there was no space where he said, who's this for? Right? When he goes, who's this for? And he goes, it works if you're in retail, if you're in, if you're selling info products, if you're a coach, if you're a consultant, if you're an MLM, if you're doing affiliate marketing, if you do this. Because he didn't say B2B, they didn't include themselves in the category of those who could purchase. Okay. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because of this. Okay, this is one of the most brilliant ways I saw Russell grow. And I don't know if he was cognizant of it. He's just freaking genius. Okay. And this is it. So check this out. Actually, let's just draw the ClickFunnels one. Okay, this is how I believe they've done, like, I think they're over $200 million. I don't know the exact cash, but now they're doing like 100 million a year. Just that's like their running rate right now. I think that's what they did last. Like, he announced that, so I feel like I can as well. But anyway, so they are selling wealth, right? ClickFunnels is 100% in the wealth category, right? They're in the wealth. That's the desire that they fulfill on. And they're over here and they're saying, right? And if you look to see how they actually were born, and remember I talked about this yesterday a little bit, but they were born out of the website space. Now, with the backdrop of what I've taught you guys so far here, right? This is the red ocean. But remember, we don't sell the same person inside the red ocean. Who are we selling? We're selling a hot traffic person, right? Someone hot traffic who is also a buyer, who represents the type 1, right? We're getting really, really narrow. We don't sell the whole ocean. That's intense. We get really specific on our messaging, right? So we sell the red ocean, who is hot traffic. That cuts it down a bunch. Who's already a buyer. That cuts it down a bunch, right? And they actively are using it. Buyer slash a user, right? They're actively using the thing. And then they're a type 1, meaning they are using it, but then they also kind of hate it. And they're in a place of pain, right? They're feeling a place of pain. I wish, and they've actively already identified that is what's going on. They've identified that they're in a place of pain. Oh my gosh, this sucks. Like, oh man, I wish there was another way. Now, this was some of the brilliance that you see that was done at ClickFunnels. And this is why I tell you the story ahead of time. Okay. So much money has come in because Russell didn't waste his time, right? Going in and learning how to sell. Now let's go sell warm traffic, right? Now let's go sell cold traffic. No. Okay. What he did is he expanded markets. He didn't expand in the current market. He found more markets. Okay. So check this out. If we got ClickFunnels over here, and this is, in my mind, one of the greatest ways to grow a company, the most seamless. So you combine those 4 ways to create a new opportunity we were just going through with what I'm going to show you right now. This is awesome. I always encourage everybody to lead with a single market, because you become the anti of this market, right? Or whatever your positioning is that you chose, with your complementary or piggyback or audience switch, whatever it is, right? You start with one. Figure out the sales message for that causes them to go, oh my gosh, this is super cool. And then what we do is, once we start to notice, let's get rid of this so it doesn't confuse anybody, because we don't want that, right? Once we start to notice that the blood inside of this red ocean is starting to dry up, what most people go do is they then move to warm in the same market. Mistake! Don't do that. Okay? The easier way to play the game is to say, now I'm not just going to become the anti-website in my sales messaging. I am now going to also sell to those in B2B. That's a market. I'm going to go sell to those who are in retail. There should be like massive, ridiculous ahas going off right now, okay? Okay, I'm going to go sell those who are in the MLM space, which he does. I'm going to sell those who are affiliates, which he does, right? And these are all categories that he started adding to the sales message as he learned that people weren't buying because they thought it wasn't for them. And now he sells, right? Now he sells each of those people. But who is he really selling in those markets? Type 1 personas who are hot, who are buyers, who are users, who hate what they're currently using, and they just don't know another way. You expand markets, not on the market. Okay, you expand markets. And now it's a huge list. There are lots of, because he's figured out how to sell that group and that group and that group and this group and this group. Oops, I just caught it. Cool. And this group and then this group and then this group. Okay. And what we're doing and what he's doing is he's learned how to call out those specifically in pain in each one of these markets. And this is 100% one of the reasons I believe why ClickFunnels has been so successful so fast. Why does he go there? Because it's easier buyers. It's easier to sell those people rather than go stay in the website space and then start to go those who are, it's a larger education bridge to move from hot traffic to warm traffic. I'm sorry, hot traffic to warm traffic, right? All right, I did say that. It's a harder bridge. It's a longer bridge. Why not just make a little short bridge to each one of these too? Hey, let's see if this space likes it. Oh, they do. Boom. Influx of buyers, influx of buyers, influx of buyers. Boom, 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 boom. And now all the sales messages have all the easiest places for people to go buy from already laced into the sales message. Because it's set up that way, he has major acquisition funnels created. So maybe I shouldn't call it the 4 ways still, right? But this is how I like to use that first way. Here's how to get more buyers. I'm not just looking for more buyers inside of the current market. That's hard. It's actually the harder way to grow your company. The easier way to go. So this is what I do for companies, right? This is why people hire me, is I come in and I'm not just looking at their offer, their sales message in the funnel. There's tons of stuff to do there. There's lots of tips. There's lots of tricks. But really what I'm doing is I'm helping people identify their market positioning in relation to who they're selling, the market, but then I'm also the red ocean, but then I'm also helping them identify the easy markets to go grab that just by dropping it in front of them, they didn't know they could go get a big old influx of cash. And it skyrockets the business. And then you drop on like a monetization and an ascension funnel where now you're taking the existing buyers and offering them expensive things and continuity-based things. It's hard to fail. But too many times, I see this most in ads companies. Ads companies, a lot of times, there's 1 or 2 particular people I know they don't do this, and it's similar to this, and it's why they work so well. Right. But most of the time, I've noticed a lot of ads companies, all they do is they expand on the current market they're selling to instead of expand markets and overall audiences of people. Right. Oh, you in B2B? Yeah, it totally works for you. And now we could create a front end called retail funnels that leads them, right? Really short bridge across the bridge. Retail funnel, B2B funnels, right? And since he sells funnels, that makes sense. Whatever you're selling, you could, right? It's specifically for you. I actually have mad respect for him. Actually, I believe we're friends. He's the man, actually. I've talked to him many times on the phone. I have huge respect for him. But Dan Henry, what's interesting about what he has done is very much that. With his Facebook ads, that's how he teaches it. He's like, don't try to keep changing your ad to fit who you're selling. Go find those who are already a fit for what you're selling and expand out across the way. And I appreciate that. I agree with that wholeheartedly, that as you're going out, as you begin to expand the stuff, one of the easiest ways to grow and blow up, stop selling the same market. If they're tapped, right? Leave the messaging there, right? But what you do is you create, similar to what he did, right? You think about what his positioning was, which was brilliant. His course is called Facebook Ads for Entrepreneurs. Wait, let's think about that. Did Facebook Ads courses already exist before his did? Yeah. But why do we feel like it was such a huge hit? Not only are the topics awesome and the content's great, it is, but it's Facebook ads for entrepreneurs. Same freaking topic, but since we believe it's customized for us, we add more value to it. Okay. Here's the power of it. Perceived customization, like multi-X's value. Perceived customization. So I'm going to go in and create something called retail funnels. Same freaking thing. But now it's for retail. Oh, it's for me. Oh, this was for me now. That's why I laugh when someone's like, this won't work for me. Are you in business? Yeah, it'll work for you. Let me say your exact scenario and then offers afterwards. And maybe you'll be like, oh, it does work for me. Right. That's why, anyway. So I get all like heavy footed about it. Cause I'm like, man, let me drop in some perceived customization so someone sees a new light, they break their paradigm, and then they finally value what it is I'm trying to share with them. Does that make sense? But everyone does that. And all these businesses that are out there will do that very thing. And they're like, our market is this. Like, great, but we can't sell anybody else. Well, the answer may not be to try and expand on the current red ocean. The answer might be that you need to find new oceans. And that's okay. And you likely have had bleed over from people. It's one of the easiest ways to do it is to find bleed over from people that you didn't know were finding you, who are already in your audience. You just haven't made the connection with yet. Good example of that, Brandon and Caleb Poulin, they were trying to do this very thing. They were expanding their business. They're expanding their business, and they went and they polled their existing customer base. They said, where's everyone from? Tell us about yourself. And what they realized was that even though they weren't focusing solely on moms, they had a huge sub audience in their buyer base that were moms. So she did a specific moms seminar, right? And and created that bridge over to that category that they didn't know was buying from them. Okay. Now, few words of warning here as we move on to this. The mistake will be that you create a message out of the get-go where you're like, and then we're going to sell this ocean and then this ocean and this ocean. Let's add this to the sales message. This is this. Like, don't do that. That'll kill you. Okay. What you do is you start with one, like ClickFunnels did. And then as you start to tap that resource and as that starts to dry out, then you add one and you learn how to sell those people. And then you add one and you learn how to sell those people. That's where people have noticed will botch it because they get excited because it's cool. What's neat about it is that since you're targeting those people who are already in that way, it's very easy buyers and it's typically very easy to go and sell. But this is a lot of times how I'll go theme future campaigns that I run, right? In fact, we'll definitely be doing that. Like, hey, like you see Russell, he just barely did it. With the MLM space, he just launched a network marketing book. That's why he's doing it, right? Is because he's over here and he's like, oh my gosh, we got this MLM space. Let's create let's create a bridge that's official. Let's create a bridge that's official over here. Boom. And we'll call it this specific funnels for MLMers. That already existed, right? It existed before I said it existed and started selling them as well. But because we value perceived customization, even if it's not actually real customization, I'm not saying you should lie. Okay, but I'm telling you that's the power of it, is that when someone's like, this was for me, and you're like, it already was, but let me just help you understand that, yeah, we actually would really like to invite you to take advantage of what we've got for you. Make sense? Clear as mud. Boom, bam. All right, here we go. Hey, I'm going to shift gears here just a little bit. And we're going to start, now that you got the backdrops of like, okay, which market do I want to attach to? What is the method that I want to go create a new opportunity with? And let's go start diving into a little bit more of how the order of collecting data from whatever red ocean that you've actually jumped into. How many of you guys thought this would be completely different? We haven't talked about offers at all almost. This feeds on offers though. The offer you create will be so much better off if you start with this whole method. Not a lot of people make a lot of money with these. I know it's a lot though, but it's epic, so that's okay. All right. So, draw it again. Okay. The order that you capture the data in dramatically, it's powerful. It's important. You need this. Okay. Now I've touched on this a little bit in the past, but again, the way I used to build funnels was I would first build the funnel, then I would build the offer based on the constraint of the funnel that I hacked. That's scary. Then I would go figure out how to sell it with a sales message. That's scary. It's the exact opposite order that you need to gather the data in. So what I do first of all is I go and I start gathering data. Let me figure out how to draw this real quick here. Anyway, so you build it in the order of, you collect the data in the order of sales message, offer, funnel, right? So you build it. You collect in this order, but you build. There you go. You build in this order. So you collect the data in sales message, offer, funnel, but you build it in the order of sales message, offer, funnel. Okay. You build it at the same time. So the reason why is because what you figure out people want to hear is a sales message to purchase. That highly influences the offer that you go build. And then the offer that you go build and the sales message you create is what influences the type of funnel that you use. The other way around messes it up. So you can all build it at the same time, which is very much what I do and what I encourage. It's actually the easiest way to pull this game off, okay, and actually do this. Now, a lot of times people will ask me, in fact, I think someone did yesterday, how do I build a sales message for an offer that I don't have yet? Okay, first of all, you have to understand that the sales message is why they buy, not the offer. But you have to, I do have an idea of what I want to sell. I do have an idea of it, but I don't build it. You know what I'm saying? What I used to go do is I would build the entire offer before I'd even known if it would sell. That's scary. So I will write out, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Offer, offer, offer. What about this? X, Y, and Z. Cool. But then I'll start selling it immediately without building it. I build it after it's been sold. So then I'm like, oh, market validation that they actually want the thing. I would have spent 8 months building, which is how long I spent building my first info product. And I never tested it. And so it never sold as soon as I launched it. It took me another 4 months to figure out how to sell it because I built it in the wrong order. First, I built the funnel. Then I built the entire offer. Then I tried to build a sales message and not the other way around. Okay. So I'm trying to tell you guys, like, I write the whole sales message and I start trying to sell it. That means that I've written but not built the offer. And then the funnel, you're like, well, how do I do this then with no funnel? Like, I still create a funnel, but it's super bare bones. You know, I don't do the bells and the whistles. I don't do all the stuff that usually people get sidetracked with. It is a headline, a video, and a button with an order form. Okay, that's it. Okay, because I'm trying to test if they will buy. Okay, if my entire funnel doesn't convert without all the little tips and tricks, something is wrong with my offer. That's a big statement. Okay, I want to make sure it converts without all the tips and tricks. I want it to be that this thing is so sexy and the sales message sells it so well and so hard that all the little tips and tricks and tweaks expand my revenue, not bring me into profitability. I should already be profitable. Okay, I think it was Claude Hopkins that said, the offer that won't sell without ads will not sell with ads. Makes sense, but like, you're like, oh, right. So I want to make sure that I don't go dump a whole bunch of money into something and I'm begging, oh man, that second upsell better hit 3% conversion or I'm going to lose money. Like, if it comes down to that level of razor hair numbers, like, I don't want to play that game. I don't play that game. Okay. That's freaky crap. Okay. So just understand, that's the order that I collect in, but the order that I build in is kind of all at the same time. Anyway, hopefully that's helpful to you. The thing that fuels the sales message, though, there's one more thing at the top, and that's why we're moving into this and why we're starting to transition into it, though. We are transitioning into what's called the core problem. Well, that's what I call it. Okay. The core problem is what influences the sales message, which is what influences the offer, which is what influences the funnel. Okay. And again, yeah, you got to write the offer in order to know what to sell. And then super freaking bird bones, right? Like, I'm in a spot now where I got a whole funnel team. So I'll spend 10, 20 grand sometimes on a funnel, but I would never do that unless I knew that it sells and I got a sick offer. You see what I'm saying? I don't start that way. I started with me just building in the late nights, after I put my kids down. I'd sleep from midnight to 5 a.m. Then I'd go ride my bike over to the ClickFunnels office and I'd work on my own stuff from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And then I'd work on Russell's from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then I'd go back home, and by about 10 to 12 p.m., I would work on my own stuff again. And I'd squeeze out a little bit of time. That's why I always get all pissed off when someone's like, I don't have enough time for this. I'm like, bull crap. Okay, you just need to sacrifice a little. Okay. Anyway, so that being said, I can't get into really tons about sales messages yet or offers or funnels until we figure out this. So I'm going to bring you, my friends, to one of the most exciting pieces in all of this. Yeah, Cold Zoom Jazz hands, right? Woo! This is a big deal, my friends. Okay. This for me is one of the things that has allowed me to design ahead of time highly likely sellable products with confidence. All right, check this out. All right, my friends. This is a developing template still, but the concept alone will help you guys be able to know, oh my gosh, this could actually work. One of my favorite books is a book called Play Bigger, and I believe everybody should read that. Play Bigger, as well as the second book that came out. It's called Niche Down. Play Bigger was written for big E entrepreneurs. Niche Down, they even say in their own words, was written for small E entrepreneurs if you're just kind of starting out. So I would read both. Play Bigger and Niche Down, fantastic resources. Another one of my favorite books that I like to reference a lot is The Innovator's Dilemma. Now, what's interesting is I'm going to talk about both of those real quick. In The Innovator's Dilemma, what's interesting is he brings up a very fascinating point. I'm going to read the quote right here. I've got it right here on my phone. He says, markets that do not exist cannot be analyzed. Novel idea, right? Suppliers and customers must discover them together. Not only are the market applications for disruptive technologies unknown at the time of their development, they are unknowable. Let me explain that. Okay. That's a huge sentence. I mean, that quote right there, that shook me. That shook me. And I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. I need to do my best to develop and design my new opportunity with the customer. I can't do it out of my own head. If I do it out of my own head, it is bound to fail. Again, because I'm not the one buying it. But since my blue ocean over here, it doesn't exist, I can't measure it. Markets that do not exist cannot be analyzed. Suppliers and customers must discover them together. Okay, again, this is the reason why I don't go and try to just come up with some brand new idea and go see if I can sell it. No. This is the purpose of what I'm going to walk you through here called the Core Problem Planner. Because what I want to do is I want you to understand, like, they're over here in this red ocean and you want them to come over here to this blue, right? You want them to come over here to this side. And when they come over here to this side, they're coming over to something that doesn't a lot of times exist yet. And that's the nature of being an innovator. And that's the diffusion of innovations curve. That's the nature of it, right? There's a lot that's not figured out still. There's a lot that's not. So what kind of problem, what kind of solution needs to be developed, okay, in order to get somebody to actually stand up and help you discover a blue ocean? One of the reasons why my stuff has been working so well is I've gotten good at this. I do not just go create an idea and just go make it. I create the scaffolding of an idea. I present it over here to this red ocean and I test their feedback. I test their reactions. I look back to see, is this something you actually would be interested in doing? What's interesting about that is that it lets me test reactions without having to actually create an ocean or create a market. I mean, I can't even create a market if no one's there. I can't be a one-man market, right? So how do I create both an idea? You got to understand that offers are as much ideas as they are actual products. Okay, so I need to know what is the idea that would cause them to stand up and move across over into this area that frankly isn't quite developed yet and help me. That's a rare kind of person. Okay, this is fascinating stuff. I really, really enjoy this part. Okay, not only are the market applications for disruptive technologies unknown at the time of their development, they're unknowable. That's fascinating. That's a great quote, right? Now, so how do we do that? And I found the answer in the next book, which is what I was just referencing, Play Bigger. Play Bigger, what it does is it talks a lot about how most of the time inside of a market, I'm going deep, guys. Is this cool? It's like good crap. Hashtag good crap. It's a technical term there again. What we have to understand is that the first person into an ocean, the first person to develop a market takes the majority of the market, right? The rest of everybody fights over the scraps. And what's fascinating by that is that what develops and lets you capture the large portion of a market, oftentimes it's not by leading with a solution. It's by leading with a problem. Oh, baby. Okay. Huge hack to the game right here, my friends. All right. Turn it up. This is very important to understand. What goes and develops and lets you capture as much market share as possible and be the person that leads in gaining a lot of market share is not by leading with your solution. It's by leading with your problem. Okay? Look at this. You lead with a problem, not a solution. Everybody else in here, guess what they lead with? Solutions. Okay, the same is true when you go create a blue ocean. When I am going in, now this is a very key idea to understand, and it's why my stuff sells so well. Because of the way I've attached the piggyback, right? I've attached myself to the ClickFunnels space, and this is why it works so well. Now I'm going to use this way to create a new opportunity as an example of this, but it's the same principle of why it's working so well for me. Okay, I lead with the problems, not the solutions. Okay. And I'm going to go in, and what I'm going to do is I'm standing over here, and I'm a one-man show inside of this market. And I'm like, oh, crap, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and lead with a problem to the overall market. Let me read this quote, and I'll tell you why. This is a quote from the book Play Bigger. If you articulate the problem well, people will assume you know how to solve it. It's a very simple quote with some insane power. Okay. If you articulate the problem well, people will assume you know how to solve it. What ends up happening is there's so much noise and so many suppliers inside a true red ocean. Everyone's leading with the solutions. Buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this. That's loud. To have somebody come out and say, I understand your problem and let me articulate it perfectly to you. They go, you know how to solve that? And I'm like, wait, no, I didn't say that. I said, I know your problem and I can articulate it very clearly. Okay. What I have become a master at and what I'm trying to help you guys understand, the reason why it's worked so well is because I'm over here, right? And like for the MLM space, example one, right? That is one where it is like this. Okay. I've gotten very good at articulating the problem, and everyone who's a type 1 knows that problem. They are using that vehicle. They have that. They hate the vehicle. They just don't know. They've been using it. They are using it. They still are using it. They just don't know another way out of the additional problems. And for you to go in and say, you have this problem, don't you? That drives me nuts. And they're like, yes. That's why my stuff sells so well. It's because I lead with the problem, not the solution. This is very key. It's a very simple idea, but it is so foundational in what we do and why it's working so well. You have to understand this. Okay. So what we need to do then is rank problems. Okay. Not all problems are created equal, and you will be paid in direct correlation to the types of problems that you solve in this life. If I'm going to go out and I'm going to solve the problem of how do I get the groceries into this bag, I will be paid according to the level of value I just created to solve that problem. That's not that valuable. So therefore, grocery baggers don't get paid a lot. If I go out and I decide to solve a huge problem, I will get also paid huge. All right. Entrepreneurs are in the business of solving problems. Hopefully it's starting to tie together. Oh my gosh. Right. So you see like, whoa, this is marketing. Okay. This is marketing, not freaking logos. Okay. So if I come over here and I start now, what we need to do then is figure out which problem to lead with. So when I go back to the market I'm attaching myself to and I say that problem, they're like, you understand me. All these other companies don't seem to. They just keep dropping new products out on me. And they very easily, it's very natural for people to come start walking to you when you can articulate the issue that they're having. Anyone? Fireworks? It's a huge deal. Huge deal. Okay. What's interesting about this is that when I articulate the problem, that's, like I said, that's what gets them to come back, and they naturally start seeking the solution. Okay. I lead, number one, with this, right? And then number two, it's a natural progression for them to come and look for the solution. Mine. Okay. What does it mean to understand your customer? Everything else I've been talking about, all that red ocean analytics stuff, all these things about markets and understanding your relation to all of them, definitely 100%. However, really also understanding your market, understanding your dream customer means this. How well do you know their problems? Okay. Now, you can't try to solve all problems for all people. In fact, that's something that Russell talked to me about once. He's like, dude, for the first few years, I was trying to be everything to everybody. And what I would go do is he would tell me, he's like, what I would go do is I would be the guy to teach them how to do affiliate marketing. And then I'll teach you how to write copy. I'll be the video guy, and I'll be this, and I'll teach this here. And I will be your one-stop shop for all problems and all solutions at the exact same time. Number one, you're going to die if you try to do that. Number two, though, you can't really be truly prolific and amazing if you're trying to solve that many problems, right? Dedicate yourself to solving one problem. So what I'm going to guide you guys through here now, what we're going to walk through is it's called the Core Problem Planner. Okay. Now the Core Problem Planner helps you identify the problem that the rest of your entire business will be focused on solving, and solving very well. Sip. Okay. Okay. So the point here again is to understand that you need to discover the solution with the customer. So that's why it doesn't need to be all the way built, and it can't be anyways. You're not the one buying it. It can't be. The market doesn't exist that you're creating. So if I come over here and I lead with the problem, and they're like, oh man, and I can articulate it more clearly than anybody else, they naturally believe that I have the best solution for them because I understand the problem the best. Okay, that's also not a direct quote, but that's what the book says and teaches. Okay. So then as they start moving back over here, I have enough stuff in there to satiate the buying desires. And then they help me discover and develop and design my product with me. That's actually how I did it with the MLM space. I sold and I was able to articulate the issue more than others can talk about. And then what was interesting is the people coming in, I told them, like, look, you're buying beta. It's not done yet. It'll be released in 2 weeks. What I need to know from you is, what are your biggest challenges with X, Y, and Z? And they went and they filled out these questionnaires. They literally handed me the table of contents of the questions that they're not being served with in their Red Ocean. Okay. All I did is I went and I filmed the content answering their questions of what they said their biggest issues were. I led with the problem. They start naturally moving towards me. I asked them for data, market-driven data that didn't come from my head. And then I solved their problem and created a Notion. What's up? That's some sexy crap. We didn't know it could be, but it can. All right, check this out. So we're going to dive into here what's called the core problem planner. So again, not all problems are created equal. And we want to make sure that we can choose a problem that is going to be healthy and truly valuable when I solve it, but also has the capacity to be healthy for our wallet sizes, right? Please design revenue ability into your businesses ahead of time. Too many times what I've noticed is people start to apologize for the thing that they're in because they feel guilty that they're going to make money and they have the intent and the desire to do so. So they apologize. You say, well, I'll worry about the money later. Let's just think about the product. No, okay? No, you can't do that. You have got to sit back and be like, your business will die without the lifeblood of it, which is cash flow. Cash is not king. Cash flow is king. And if you can't design revenue ahead of time and honestly see where it's going to come from, you are bound to die as a business. Okay. So we need to make sure that the core that you're building is actually the problem. The problem naturally has cash behind it, right? Just like with the real estate example, going back to it. Okay. If a house is only 10 grand, you're going to ask yourself, why is it only 10 grand? People assume that it's going to be a lot of money. Let them, right? You can take advantage of that. People assume that the things that I'm going to be selling are a lot of money. Good, right? They're really valuable. This is my free stuff. Okay. Okay. That's really, really valuable. All right. Does that make sense? It's going to be hard for me to go make a sustainable business when I need to sell 1 billion Beanie Babies just to like break even. Right. But make sure that the numbers have inside of them pre-built things that will make sure that you can eat and eat well and live like royalty. Okay. And that's all right. We need that in this world. Be a capitalist, baby. And then go in and change the world. Right? You have the capacity to do so with speed and true influence. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's why I want you to be rich. Okay. A lot of this is started though and is rooted in, because there's a lot of your offer comes from this core problem planner. All right. So I'm going to draw it out here. I was worried I wouldn't have enough material for this session. I was like, oh crap, this might be like a 30-minute session. Okay. Good boy, son. All right. This is what I call the core problem planner. And then again, this is a developing thing, but this is very helpful to plan out what does he actually do. When people ask you, what do you do? I'll teach you how to answer that. I hate that question. You probably do too. Okay, meaning I'm going to plan out the actual core problem here. Now, I want to look at several criteria. The first thing that I do is I write down problems. Okay, so I write down problems here, and this is very easy to gather because it doesn't come from you. So you have to go ask those that it comes from. So just start talking to customers. Okay. Make sure specifically who you're talking to is the type 1. Okay. The type 1 Red Ocean persona, because you want straight raw data on what it is that they're all struggling with. One of the easiest ways to make a lot of money, guys, go find a group that all of your Red Ocean is living in. Okay. Go find a Facebook group and just start answering their freaking questions. That's it. After you do that for a little while, it's going to be really obvious what all of their issues are. Go make that product and sell it to them. Very simple. Okay. Remember, as a entrepreneur, you are not the orchestra. You're the maestro. You're the orchestrator. I don't know how to play all the instruments, but I do know how to play all the minds that cause the orchestra. Okay. I know how to go in and put the things together. That's all an entrepreneur is. To entrepreneur is to put things together. I'm not actually making all of the things, and that's okay, right? I'm just to create value, like, I'm feeling a side rant. Okay, here we go. Price versus cost versus value. A lot of people think they're the same thing. They 100% are not. Okay, price is what your customer pays. Cost is what you pay. Cost is what you pay to fulfill. Value, though, value is the easiest one to actually move around. Okay, so the price of something is how much money a customer is going to pay in order to get your solution. The cost is how much you pay to deliver the solution, right? Because you have cost of goods in order to deliver it. Value, though, is one of the reasons why they're willing to pay price. Value trumps price. Okay, value comes over here and says, hey, price, I'm better than you are when I'm greater than you are. Okay, value is cool because it's more of a true reflection of people's attitude towards what they're buying, right? And if I value something so intensely, I will do a lot of stuff to make sure that whatever price they're asking, I'm willing to pay. When I was like starving and I bootstrapped my way to ClickFunnels ClickFunnels second event, Funnel Hacking Live, seriously, and I traded funnels for plane tickets and funnels for hotel nights and funnels for the event tickets, and I wanted it, man. Right? I stayed up the whole last night in the lobby because I didn't barter enough nights. Okay, I didn't barter enough nights with the funnels that I was building. I thought I had, but I didn't. Okay, I wanted it. Then Russell comes out and we had never met. I mean, I met him for the first time ever at that event. And I said, hey, you changed my life. And he's like, oh, cool. Glad you're here. And that was it. And I sat down and I was a participant in the event. And what was interesting is he stood up and he started selling this program called the ClickFunnels Certified Program. And I was already a pretty hyper user of ClickFunnels. And I was building for a lot of people successfully, finally. And I figured out the last few pieces and such. It was a $10,000 program to go through the certification. I had to bootstrap my way to the event. Do you think that I could afford this certification program? No. But man, I went to freaking town and I went back to, I don't think I've told the story. I went back to the sales table and I said, I want this. I want this. I can't afford it. What can I do? I will do whatever you need. I think I even offered to work for free. I did. Right. When value is so high in the mind of the individual, price starts to matter very little. Right. I didn't really negotiate much on price, but what I did is I started getting creative. I realized that PayPal had a $4,000 credit. I knew that I could go get that. So I went and I called PayPal. I called my bank. I started looking for lines of credit because I knew I was a funnel builder. I knew I was a funnel builder already at that time. And I knew that it's what I wanted to do the rest of my life was build offers, build funnels, and actually do this game, right? Professionally, finally, I felt like I'd found my thing. I was graduating in 4 days, okay, at that time. And I was like, this is it. This is exactly what I'm going to do the rest of my life. There's no way back. There's no reason for an option B because it distracts from option A, right? And so what I did is I got creative. And I said, I was like, I can give ClickFunnels, I can give you $4,000 down now. And then I know how to build these already, and I've already been successful with them. What I'll do is I'll pay you guys in chunks over the next few months. Does that sound good? And they went back and they got authorization from Brent Copeters, which is super nice of them. And yeah, I mean, I was not planning on working at ClickFunnels a week later. Okay, I was not planning on. Man, I was full in. I was moving, baby. Right? I was like, I knew what the value of the thing is that I was going to go get from CF Certified. So I started moving and I was running hard, man. I was running so hard. Guys got to understand, if your knee-jerk reaction is to always find discount, you will answer that question. Questions invite revelation. I just did a podcast episode about that. Questions invite revelation. So be careful of your questions. And if I keep asking myself broke people questions, which are, how can I get a discount? Right? But this isn't enough time. It's only up till midnight. Those are broke people questions. Okay. Instead, flip the question because you're likely to get the answer. And the answer is, right, or the question you start asking is, how can I afford the most expensive experiences and things in this life? Okay. Answer that question. You're likely to answer it. But most people don't ask it because they're like, well, I'm not in a position to do that. Yeah, duh. All right. Ask the question, How can I afford the most expensive things that this planet has to offer? The most expensive, lavish things, right? And you're likely to answer it, right? And it was moments like that at the beginning of this whole thing that really shaped my mind, because asking that kind of question is how I got to Funnel Hacking Live in the first place. I don't have money. Okay, we're living on loans. This is our scenario. Honesty and where I am. I'm not going to judge myself, but it's where I am, right? That's where I was at that time. It's like 5 years ago or whatever now. I was like 4 years ago. Anyway, and what was interesting is I said, well, I'm broke. Okay. Robert Kiyosaki says, those who are broke, right? Broke people questions. They say, I don't have the resources. Rich people say, how can I get resourceful? Right. And so I was like, woof. And I started trading funnels for plane tickets, funnels for hotel nights, right? And it's the reason why I am unapologetically expensive, because I am dang good. Right. And I cater to those people with that mindset rather than, can I get a discount? You keep asking that question, you're going to keep getting that answer, and you keep getting the output that comes from it, which is it literally is a roll on the exact same thing that you've been doing in your life. Okay. Get bold, get stonesy, and start asking yourself, how can I afford the most expensive things that this world has to offer? And when you start doing that, you can answer price questions a lot easier. Okay. Now was a lot, but I want you to like feel me as I say that. So I value this. Value trumps price. And I knew my identity was wrapped in this already, right? My identity was wrapped into value. I already knew I was a funnel hacker. I already knew I was a funnel builder. I already knew that it was something I was going to go forward and do. The fact that I didn't have the money, that's an obstacle that kind of sucks. How am I going to deal with that? Okay, what could I do? Don't judge my ideas. There's no such thing as a stupid idea. There's stupid questions, but there's no such thing as a stupid idea. And so I was like, oh man, I could go get that $4,000. Maybe I can negotiate with them. And man, I was in momentum. I literally was running back and forth from the sales table to my hotel room, making phone calls to banks and different places. Like, I'm going to do this. What was fascinating is by that time, I started getting job offers at ClickFunnels, something I was never planning on. But as soon as they said it, I was like, you know what? That could be really cool. And so I applied to be a support person. Proximity is power. Let me get close. And so I was like, I value, and what I said is, and that I use that as part of my negotiation skill. Right. So as part of my tactics, I said, hey, I'm going to go in, and if I do get hired, could I get a discount as an employee on this? Right. That makes more sense. I'm not just trying to get a discount for the sake of it and be a cheapo, right? Anyway, you see what I'm saying? And so that's what happened. But when I was interviewing, I didn't realize that they were interviewing me for a different role. I was going in thinking it was going to be for support, but I thought it was funny. They were having me talk to Russell Brunson himself for an hour and a half. Right. I was like, that's a really intense interview for a support role. I just need proximity here, right? And as I'm leaving, they're like, we want you to be his funnel builder. And I was like, whoa, oh my gosh. Yeah, I would do that for free. Make sense? Value trumps price. Okay. So we're going to go in here and we're going to start looking at several of these things and why problems naturally don't all give the same value for the customer. Not all problems cost you the same to fulfill in. Not all problems are problems people are willing to pay a lot of money for, okay, when you solve them. The thing I love most about entrepreneurship is it causes massive amounts of personal development. Your business will only grow to the extent that you do, okay? And like, that's a big sentence. And so one of the things I've become known for is not just teaching offer creation stuff, but what goes on usually in people's brains as they start to execute, because it can be scary, especially if you're the only one doing it, right? And anyway, that's why I talk about this stuff so much. Okay, so here's the core problem planner. So what I do first of all is let's put a column here at the top, or a row. And we got problems. Now I kind of rank them out this way, okay? So we've got let's see. Your idea for the solution. Okay, now this is an important criteria. The next criteria on here is what you need to be able to do. This, again, comes from the book Play Bigger. You need to understand that you're looking for a problem that is easily evangelizable. It's kind of a weird way to say that. You're looking for a problem that you can evangelize well, meaning what is it that you can lead with, right? I'm not going to walk around to grocery stores and be like, it is a huge problem that you need a grocery bagger at the end of each of your lines, right? That's not that big of a problem. It's very easily solvable. And because of that, it's not evangelizable very easily. It doesn't spread on its own, right? I don't want to be the only one who's going to spread the problem, right? Not the solution, the problem. I don't want to be the only one that when they hear it, I need to keep being the one that pushes the problem out there. The problem that I go choose, right? So what I do is I rank how easily I think I could evangelize a problem, right? How well will it spread on its own once attention has been brought to it? If I, right now, I'm not creating the problem. I'm focusing on type ones, right? The people who already have the problem, they're already feeling it. They're already in a sense of pain. They already hate it. But what I'm doing is I'm stepping back and I'm looking to see, okay, there's this problem, that problem, this problem, that problem, this problem, that problem. And I'm starting to list them. And that's what we do. Okay. And that's what I encourage you to go do. While you're gathering data from the market, you're listing out the problems you start hearing them say, and they'll come out. Okay. If you're talking to the right person, they'll start talking about it. They might even have a little bit of a chip on the shoulder about it. Right. So I'm going to list out a lot of problems. And what I'm starting to identify, what I'm trying to look for again, is one of them. So based on all these criteria that I'm going to drop out right here, I'm going to rank, right? And it's going to help me identify like, oh, that's a stupid problem. That would be a dumb problem for me to build an entire business around, right? Like there was a Shark Tank episode that I saw recently. It was hilarious. First of all, I am grotesquely against the concept of what Shark Tank is doing, which is giving VC funding for entrepreneurs who just don't know how to actually just make a simple funnel and they wouldn't have to give it part of their business in order to get funding. But there was an episode. I still like to watch it, though. It's cool to watch the ideas some people come up with. There was a lady who got on one of the episodes, and she stood up, and she walked up, and she said, hi, my name is so-and-so. I don't remember her name. She said, I made a way for you to organize sticky notes. Maybe you guys saw this episode because the sharks ripped her apart. Okay. And she goes, I found a way to organize sticky notes. And they said, what? You know, like, the problem is I'm sitting at my computer and I keep notes on these actual sticky notes and I'll tape them all over the place. So they're all over my desk. They're all over, and they're like, all right, you know, how did you solve it? She said, what I did is I created this little tiny thin lip, right? It was this thing that you could attach to the side of the computer, right? With just this little panel. And instead of you putting sticky notes on the side of your computer, you just put them all on that little lip up on the top. And that was it. And they're like, what are your sales? Does anyone want that? And she's like, I haven't sold anything yet, but this is going to be an amazing opportunity. Think about how many people use sticky notes. And this guy, I think it was Mr. Wonderful. He's like, you created a solution to something that was never a problem. That's important. What he just said, right? That's why I'm doing this. That's why you do this. You created a solution to something that was never a problem. Why would I invest in this? And he goes, this is one of the greatest opportunities you could ever have in your life. He's like, I don't think it's such a huge issue that people are willing to spend $25 to put an adhesive sticker on the side of their computer where they could put more stickers. He's like, you created a sticker for stickers, right? And she's like, this is going to be one of the most incredible things here ever. And she kept saying the same thing over and over again. They're finally like, no, right? But that what he said there illustrates exactly what I'm talking about. You created a solution for something that was never a problem, okay? And you have to be very cognizant. You have to understand why we're walking through this. It has happened multiple times that as I'm doing an audit on somebody's funnel or offer, I start looking at what they created and I'm like, oh gosh, now I know I don't represent your market, so my opinion ultimately doesn't matter here, but did you make the whole thing already? They're like, yeah, it's awesome. I'm like, have you sold any at all? They're like, no, but we're really hopeful. I'm like, oh, hope's a terrible marketing strategy. Oh gosh, right? And they're like, this is another big sentence. You should write that down. Hope is a terrible marketing strategy. All right. I can't remember where I read that. Anyway, but that's the thing I'm trying to hedge you guys against here with this is that you don't create a solution to something that's never a problem. So what you're looking for is a true legitimate issue. And part of that is a lot of these criteria. So the next one I would say is be cognizant of how well you believe you could go and evangelize the problem that you link up to, right? How well could I evangelize these problems? So I'm just going to say evangelize. Okay. How well could I evangelize this problem? And you could do a little rank system if you want or whatever, which is kind of what I do. A 1 is not at all. A 5 is I could really do it. 3 is, I don't know. All right. Now I'm going to run out of space, which sucks. I got notes over here on the side. Make sure I hit all the right things. Okay. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to start to evangelize or figure out how well I could evangelize the problem. Meaning what that usually means is how much momentum do you think there naturally will be once people are aware of the problem, right? One of the examples Play Bigger gives in the book is Uber. And they say, we never considered that standing on a corner and raising our arm to call a taxi was a problem until Uber came out. Okay. That's the dream scenario here with evangelize, is you're going to choose a problem that people may not always know that they have either, right? They know they're in pain. They know it kind of sucks, but the dream, like at least you need to be able to find one that you can evangelize that will spread very well. The dream scenario though here is when you choose a problem that they didn't quite understood that they had, but they know they have it, but they didn't quite know they had, you know what I mean? There's not a lot of awareness to it. Does that make sense? So I didn't understand how much of a pain in the butt it is to get in the car and go buy fast food on McDonald's Monday until Uber Eats came out. Right? Now you just order it. Don't do that. It's really bad for your health. Okay, but does that make sense? Right? Those kinds of problems are very spreadable. Once people see them, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that was an issue. I had no idea, right? But it is. I hate doing it the old way, right? So I'm looking at these type 1s. A lot of times they're feeling pain, they're feeling problems, but sometimes they don't know that the problem that they're feeling is a huge one until they're like, oh, that is a huge issue. Okay. So there's there's a few ways, there's a few strategies around that. I'll keep going here. All right. Next one is what I want to do is I want to be able to gauge how well it can cash flow. Is there a natural amount of money floating around the solution for that problem? Right? If I solve the problem of how many sticky notes can I fit on the side of a computer, that's not a very valuable, or there's not that much money naturally associated to solving that kind of problem. I actually want to solve a problem that is associated with a lot of cash. That's one of the reasons why I went into business by design rather than go in and, I'll say it this way. It is the reason why I'm not a professional affiliate and I focus on building my own products. Okay. Affiliate marketing is how I made my first dollars on the internet, which is great. I love affiliate marketing, but I only get to keep a portion of the actual revenue that comes from it as an affiliate. I'd rather solve bigger problems than let's help this person sell more of their product. I'd rather solve more problems in my business, bigger problems that are associated with more cash, right? Does that make sense? That's why I keep bringing that real estate example up. It's naturally accepted by this whole world that real estate costs a good chunk of change. It's naturally associated that cars cost a good chunk of change, right? It's naturally associated that I want to choose a problem in a market that is naturally associated with more zeros at the end than not, because it gives me flex room to mess up for a while, but still make enough money to stay in business and keep my shirt on. Boom. There was a lady that I was coaching once, and she's a sweet lady. She's very nice. But what she had done is she was very, she was super into creating organic dog food locally. No joke. And what she would do is she would get up super early and she would make organic dog food. And then she would do all the stuff she needed to cook it and prepare it. And then she would literally get in her car and she would drive it around to other places. Now that's probably good as like side hobby styled income, but not really as like a whole business, right? The play there is not necessarily to be the one who's going to drive it around to everybody else. The model that would cause cash for that, solving that kind of problem, would most likely be selling that kind of license and patent to a big dog food company, right? That already has distribution, right? Which is another criteria. I'm going to look to see how much distribution is naturally associated with solving that problem. Okay, I'm going to start writing these down here, but there's more criteria across the top. There's a lot that I look at, right? How well could I create marketing stories? How well could I create marketing messages if I solve that problem? How easy would it be for me to create an offer around that? How logical how easily would it be to accept, I guess, how should I say it this way? I want to see how easy it is for me to close people on it, right? I want some way to be able to judge how well I can close people, right? So right, this is the definition of marketing, sales, and closing. I want to see how well I can close people on it. How logical would people believe my closes are, right? Buy one, get one free. That's the one issue with a lot of things on the internet. It's only available till midnight tonight, and then it's not. I hate that crap, right? So when I say that, you guys probably, some of you guys, I got a few emails from people. Hey, where'd the video go? And I was like, well, it's 12:01. They're like, are you serious? Like, yeah, I hate fake scarcity and urgency. And I will tell you, if this is going away at midnight, it is going away at midnight. And it did, both on YouTube and on the actual page itself. Okay. So does that make sense? Right. And so what I'm doing is I'm going in, I'm judging to see if I say, right, and that's one of the issues with the internet space now is that so many people will say those kinds of things and it's just frankly not true. And people are like, well, it's just not true. He's just saying that. And I'm like, well, I'm going to call this. You're not calling a bluff. You want a bluff? Wait till 12:01. Okay. I'm telling you, as I say it is, that's how I'm doing it. Right. And I'm very forward on it because I hate fake scarcity. Everyone does it. So one of the things I want to judge is, like one of the major benefits I love of e-com and selling supplements on the internet is that when they're gone, they are gone. And people can logically justify that. Oh, that makes sense because then they have to go make more. Or these Aura rings. One of the reasons I bought an Aura ring so fast is that when they were first out, there was a 3 to 4 month lead time after you bought it before you actually got it because they were selling so quickly. Okay. And so Russell and a lot of my friends told me like, dude, go buy one now and wait for a while for it to show up. They must have had a big old influx or whatever because it only took like a month. But still, like that's right. That's very logical for me to accept. That makes sense, right? I'm gonna go. That closed me quickly. I went and I spent like the $400 or $500 for this ring that it was. Okay, very quickly. Well, if I can't do that very well, if I can't future see ways to that solving that problem would do that, like I should start to see like. Urgency and scarcity are one of the major tools that a marketer has. So if I can't equip those major tools that a marketer has, that's going to influence whether or not I choose to attach my entire business to solving that problem, make it my core problem. Make sense? Yeah. All right. Other things that I look at. Okay. Anyway. The distribution one is a huge one. How much it actually will make is a big one. How well it's spreadable on its own. One of the things that I like to go through and look at, one of my favorite books is a book. I got a lot of favorite books. I didn't realize how much I reference books. I reference a lot of books. One of my favorite things, one of my favorite books is by Ryan Holiday, and it's called Trust Me, I'm Lying. And it's a fascinating book. It shows you kind of behind the scenes of the PR world. And he teaches you much about how ideas are generated and how news is generated and how a lot of what the news comes across as is straight up not true. And it's not always that they're not trying to be deceitful. It's the way the data is gathered. A lot of the news isn't true. And it's very fascinating. And one of the things that I don't think he explicitly said this, but it was an aha I had while I was reading it. And he said in the book, something that gave me the idea, whoever controls content controls an industry, right? And you think back to like World War II times, and I know I've kind of talked about this in the past, but World War II times, whole nations were controlled because of the propaganda they were receiving from the leader, stuff that was just frankly not true, right? That's that principle in action. So you think about that, like that very thing in terms of marketing. And again, everything I'm teaching here, you could use for good or bad, just like anything in life. Okay. Please be ethical and moral with this stuff. But one of the things that I want to do is I like to see how much content is being generated currently around these current solutions and problems. Because what I'm looking for is a gap. One of the reasons why I chose to be the offer guy, because there was nobody really being the offer guy, meaning I couldn't find that much publication out about it, right? There was really like 2 books, and the guy who was last the offer guy was probably Claude Hopkins in the late 1800s, right? Like there's not a lot of content around it. Content is what creates an ecosystem and fuels people to stay inside of an ocean. Content. Well, I keep telling everyone to freaking publish, right? I feel like you're not serious if you don't start publishing. But content is the reason why people stay there, right? It's what continues to fuel the beliefs that are keeping them in the ocean. It's what fuels and reminds them of the decisions that they made. And so if you're not publishing, they lose belief and they leave. Okay. So What I want to do is I want to judge to see how much content / publishing is being created around that current problem and solution. Okay. Because if there isn't a lot, very easy to go grab a lot of market share in people's minds that you're the solution. Okay. Is there a lot of content that's out there? That's one of my key weapons. That's actually one of the reasons, again, why I went and jumped in the MLM space, because I started looking at all the podcasts that are available in the MLM space. They were garbage. It's all about this mind control crap. How to mind control people in your downline. I was like, man, I don't do phone meetings. I don't do hotel meetings. I don't get on three-ways. I never will. I hate that crap. I still believe in the vehicle, which is basically affiliate marketing, okay, with an override on people underneath you that you brought in. That's all it is. That's what affiliate market, that's what MLM is, right? That's what network marketing is. You're a commission-based salesman, and you get commission on people that you brought in to be salesmen also. That's all. And I love affiliate marketing, but suddenly that's for some reason, calling it something different, we all think it's better. And I was like, there's an opportunity. And I was like, well, what's the content that's available to that market? Oh, it's garbage. Let's go buy all the top-selling books in that industry. Sweet. Well, I'm a content machine, baby. And that was one of the criteria that I used to say that would be a sick problem to lead with in this industry. Okay. One of the things that can hurt you is if other people are also leading with that problem. So I want to make sure that I don't necessarily need to be the exclusive. That's probably not the right way to write it, but I do need to be one of the first. And because I'm going to do it way more loudly than most people are, because I publish, which y'all should. Should I just keep dropping that? I'll keep dropping that the entire time here. Have I mentioned you should publish? Okay. All right. Okay. I want to make sure that I'm one of the only people who can actually lead with that thing. That makes me very different, because again, I'm leading with the problem. And if I'm leading with more clarity on the problem than everybody else says, because if someone else starts to lead with problems, or someone else is naming problems, because you're probably not the only one who talks about the issues, right? Other people talk about the issues too. But I need to make sure that I am also one of the people who brings it to light, the biggest, the fastest, the strongest, the loudest. And if other people, like, let's say I'm choosing this problem right down here, and I'm like, oh, look at all these criteria. Okay, that one. Oh my gosh, this problem looks like it'd be a great one to build an entire business around. What's interesting about that is I can go in and I could be awesome on all these, but someone else is already talking about it. I better have some firepower, right? I better have some distribution already available to me to speak louder and faster than that person. That's why I want to be, as much as I can be very exclusive, or identify these things ahead of time. Okay. Now these things, a lot of the stuff that I'm bringing to you guys through, you might be like, dang man, like this is a lot of crap. It is a lot of stuff. Just why people hire me. Okay. It's a lot of stuff. Okay. And you're like, man, it looks like I'm trying to line up this very specific scenario. That's exactly what you're doing. I want to stack as many cards in my favor as I possibly can. I'm not the one filling my own wallet. Remember, I'm an orchestrator. So let's orchestrate and see what's already out there, a win. Let's design the win. This is how you design a fast win out of the gate. Boom. These are things to think about, right? When you're looking at the stuff, be like, and start being methodical about, this is what my market's doing. This is what it's not doing. This is the problem that I could lead with. This is the problem I could not lead with. This is what, right? And by going through and understanding those things, and understanding who you're selling to and who you're not, this is some of the easiest ways to create something that's really, really helpful and very powerful. Okay. What I want to end with here is what's called the blue ocean statement. And the blue ocean statement says this. Okay. And then anyway, blue ocean statement says this. When people ask you the question, so anyway, just to wrap this up, what I do is I'll circle one of those things, right? These are criteria that I just ran out of room for across the top. But I'll be like, okay, this is now the problem that I'm going to go design an entire business around. And I've already thought through and kind of brainstormed a cool solution. Right? That's part of the process. Is I'm like, well, I could solve it this way. I could solve it this way, this way, this way. And I'm not solving it based on my level of know-how. I can find people who know how to do things that I don't know how to do. I'm solving it as far as like the dream solution, the coolest solution I can think of in order to solve that problem. Coolest. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to say, boom. Oh, this one looks like it was a 4, 3. This was a 1. I'm going to rank this one a 2. This is another 3, another 3. This one could cash flow super, super hard. Oh my gosh, that's cool. This one can cash flow super, super hard also, but it's tough. It's the most. This one's only that. This one's only that. It's only that. Oh, this one could make a lot of money naturally behind it. You see what I'm doing? And I go through and I start ranking the best case problem that I could lead with. And then the cool solution, this is not hard. We're going to create an offer around this moving forward. Okay. This is what the core offer turns into. And for those of you guys who have been in any of my stuff in the past, This is what Xavier turns into. Okay, right there. The solution to that problem. But I don't lead with the solution, right? This is what all my content, all my marketing, all my messaging, all the stuff, everything leads with that. And this gets really easy to sell. Okay. Anyway, so what I want to do real fast is this blue ocean statement thing. Okay. The blue ocean statement says this. Steven, what do you do? So it's kind of we've tried to make statements like this in the past. Some I like, some I don't. Oops. All right. All right, but it's basically this. I want to be able to very clearly say what I do to customers, right? Because I got to lead and articulate I got to be able to articulate that problem better than everybody else. So how do I do that? Well, I do it through the blue ocean statement. You don't have to be as formal as this statement and fill in the blank template is, but it helps you start to identify what those things are, okay? So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, I'm delivering, right, health, wealth, relationships, whatever it is that you're choosing, to red ocean, okay, through or by right, through or by your core solution, which we'll get to in the next session, most likely. And then because they all have, because of core problem. Now, again, you know, that's super formal. And if someone said that to me, I'd probably slap them and be like, man, get real, son. Okay. But understand, like, for you in your mind, when you really, like, all these things that I brought you through now, a lot of them are starting to come together. And now we can talk about offers, right? 6 hours later. Okay. Now we can actually go through and show you, here are templates that are really cool. Okay. Now we can actually do it. Before, there's no way. Before, there's no way at all. There's so much that goes into structuring a win ahead of time, right? And understanding a lot of these pieces will help you create an offer that's a win out of the gate, okay? So I'm delivering health relationships to specific red ocean market that you have identified that will be awesome, right? Through core solution, but you're leading with the core problem, which is blank. And you've ranked the core problem and you have dreamt up and identified the coolest, most awesome solution that's out there, regardless of your ability to deliver it. Because now you can just go find people who do certain things, right? Russell doesn't know how to code. He's got an amazing Todd Dickerson, right? Todd Dickersons don't grow on trees, right? But he went and found it. That's okay. Don't pursue a solution based on your current abilities or constraints. That actually is a blessing, because the more natural constraint around it, the harder it is for people to rip you off. Okay. So don't be afraid if you're like, the solution I'm thinking about, I don't know that I could go pull it off. Yeah, duh. You probably can't. You're the entrepreneur. You're the orchestrator. And although you probably have one or two awesome skill sets that you're very good at, there's probably a lot that you're not good at. I'm not a coder. I have no idea how to program. I'm not honestly a professional copywriter. I know how to design the messaging behind it and how to design a lot of stuff. I know how to do a lot of stuff with video, but I shouldn't be the guy doing that. I know how to do a lot of stuff with audio, but I shouldn't be the guy doing that. Does that make sense? I'm the orchestrator. I just play the band, baby. All right. And now that I know what that is, I can go to a team and I can say, look, this is what we deliver. We help people get wealth, specifically to these people. All right. And we do it by this, but we do it specifically because they have this problem. What's nice about this last statement right there is that it adds to vision. It brings everybody else in line with your vision. And you have gone through a buttload of stuff by this time to help you realize, like, this is what I do. Okay. Alrighty. As I'm standing here and as I'm thinking about it, me going into offer creation, that is actually the opposite of what I've been trying to teach you to do anyways. First, I'm going to teach you guys how to develop a sales message. That will be the next session that we go through. And I'm going to teach you, it actually will be a lot of sales message design mixed with offer creation at the same time. Okay. When it comes down to it, the offer is not just a collection of products. It actually includes the sales message. Okay. A sales message and offer, while they're very separate and different, okay, they also, they are combined and kind of created at the exact same time. So I'm going to teach you how to design that and put that together. That's the point and purpose of next session. So we will not get into offer templates next, but I am going to go through and teach you how to start now. Do you finally have all these massive backdrops behind it? Like, oh, I should go create this sales message, and I'm going to help you identify that. Oh, I should go create this core offer. So we will go into the core offer template. I'm not going to go into the other 3 offer templates. That will probably be Friday morning, tomorrow morning. And we'll go through actual offer templates then, but we are going to go through sales message and core offer design and the template for those things. Sound good? My friends, I appreciate it. All right, let's go to chat. It's always music going in my head. All right, here we go. Let's go over the chat here. I forgot where I was. Nice, nice, nice. I'm sorry, I'm getting back to where I left off with the comments. It's Jay Abraham. That's who it was. Thank you. Whoever said that. Let's scrolling through. Okay, I found it. All right, let me go back through here just a little bit. Let me, I found the general area where I left off. What's up, Austin? Audience change. Would new audience mean a new market? I don't think of it in that way. An audience shift, I think about overall value ladder and business design. Finding additional markets for me is something that comes, right? Those are not amongst the first activities I do to create an actual business. Hopefully that makes sense. Those are things that I think about further down the line. I had 3 businesses and they did not work. And I'm already understanding why. Applied what I learned in my master. All this has been revolutionary since OFA. Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate that a lot. Is this method different from the one you teach in OFA? No. I just can't go very deep in the One Funnel Away challenge. Right? I'm going kind of deep on this. New people who've never done anything like this or ever had a business or ever made revenue ever, I mean, they'd probably poop a brick if they start seeing this stuff. I mean, this is a lot of stuff. I'm teaching like master's level offer and market design. I thought that was the main thing. Could this work with an existing product? And what you do is bring them to that vehicle that is much better. Yeah. So a lot of people that like most of the companies that hire me are existing already. And what I do is I go design these frameworks and such around them. And what it typically means is they create a better offer, but then they understand their positioning better in relation to everybody else. And they're much more, they have far more polarity in their messaging because of a result of these things. They now know what they're attaching to, what they're fighting against. They now kind of more understand what it is that as soon as they start getting rid of all the people, getting rid of isn't the right. As soon as they start running out of blood, right? As soon as they start running out of their dream customer in their current market, rather than go warm, which sucks, they just expand to another market and go to the next one, next one. Buyer persona and awareness are 2 dimensions of measuring likeliness of buying. Yeah. Oh, nice. We got all the love for Colton. That's good. Jay Abraham, I think, were the ones that said the 3. You're right. Yeah. It's killing me for a second there. Thanks, everyone. I feel some life coming back to my legs. Oh. Steve, I have a solution for your REM sleep issue. If yesterday, seriously, man, it's not an oil. So you really like the audience switched, Abraham? Oh, sweet. Decrease costs. I'm trying to catch up to actual questions here versus comments. Isn't Russell's 10x talk selling to cold traffic? No. Those who end up buying are typically those who are problem and solution aware. There's people in there definitely that were represented of cold. And that's one of the issues when you start to get a room that size and he's not the one that filled the room. So sometimes what it turns down to, like I speak a lot, May's ridiculous this year, man. I am literally at an event every week. Next week is another one before May even starts. It's insane. And these aren't like small events. One of them is my Offer Lab event, which is going to be awesome. All right. Another one is doing stuff for ClickFunnels, which is huge, massive workshop for 800 people at one time for 4 hours with just me live in person. Like, whew. Hey, just got here. What did I miss so far? Sorry, but a ton. This is mind blowing. Awesome. Glad, CJ. Perceived customization. How does messaging change when you introduce a product to a market? I'm afraid to change my message. I totally get that. And hold that thought, because we're actually going to dive into value. That has to do, I'll answer that in the value ladder design component of this. Very smart strategy. Thank you, Chris. Reminds me of the chicken soup books. This is what Tony Robbins does for his business coaching, relationship, power, health. Yeah, so he leads with one, but then once they're already in his business, he upsells them to other things. He just leads with one. Okay. Let's see. This is insanely crazy. Love it. Colton, you're the muscles in that biz. Totally. You could kill me in one punch. Steve, what elements and sales messages do you pay more attention to? We'll get into all that. We just did like a sickeningly massive deep dive in positioning. So we'll get into actually how to create the assets that all of those inputs now let us generate. Huge lightning strike with this event. Offer mine. Watch them close. Yeah. Australians have watched 4 million hours of GOT and prep of the final season. I don't even know what that is. I'm not going to lie. Oh. There are better things in life than that show. In the piggyback model, are you bringing something new to the current market? What do you offer? Bringing something new to I'm bringing an accelerant to the current vehicle, right? I'm still telling everyone to use ClickFunnels. It's just if they go through my stuff, they are far more likely, and that's been the pattern. They're far more likely to have success faster. What Russell focuses on, he's the CEO of ClickFunnels. He's going to make ClickFunnels the best it can be. What I'm trying to be is the companion education to it, where I am only focusing on that, and he is only focusing on these, right? Is it really always that way? No, right? But that's how I'm starting to position myself. Hashtag good crap. What's the most common core problem templates that influence and change beliefs the quickest? We'll get into all that stuff moving forward here. That has to do with the actual sales message design. So Stephen, if you sell a product that doesn't exist with sales message without the offer ready, how and when will happen with the fulfillment? So I did walk through that. Hopefully it answered your question. I'll walk through it later on. Let's see. Whoever can define the problem better is assume they have the best solution. Yeah, it's a good sentence there. Steve is right. Go read those 3 books. I've binge read those 3 books for the last 2 years. It helps you really understand what Steve is saying and help you follow much easier. So true. Thank you so much. Birdhouse 011. People are twice as motivated to move away from their problem when they're motivated towards a solution. Kind of. You have to understand is that there are people on this planet who are motivated towards pleasure. And there's also those who are motivated away from pain. Very subtle, but incredibly important. And most people, what's interesting is most people out there is they are motivated away from pain. Entrepreneurs, people who are aggressive in this planet, those who actually want to do things with their life, that's a very small percentage of this planet. And moving towards pleasure in your messaging is actually damaging. You need to, in your messaging, move away from pain, which is one of the reasons why leading with a problem and that you understand their problem is typically better than leading with a solution. It's one of those other reasons why that's true. So one of the reasons, again, why people don't sell very much is because they're leading with their solution and they're leading towards pleasure. That's good for you and I, but our customer, unless you're selling entrepreneurs, a lot of times our dream customers are not motivated in that manner. Go as deep as you can. This is mind-blowing. Thank you, Kevin. Leave the problem because it is, yeah. You can expand one category at a time until after you mastered your first, or can you expand a few at a time? I would only do one at a time, frankly. Hashtag #OhMyLanta. Stop sharing all the juicy secrets. Thanks, Mason. Big picture question. When are you When are you? Am I ready to start the world changing business? How would you define rich? By the way, epic content, just an aha about how easy it is to find buying audience. Thanks. Yeah, exactly. Right. When you do it from this manner, it's way better. And that's going to be your own definition. I'm not going to define what success means to you. Steve, that's why I buy from you and follow you. It's because you've articulated my problem like no one else. I appreciate that. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this. Okay. Not much content is out there around the stuff that I'm talking about, and at least not organized in the way I've organized it. Yeah, how do I articulate the problem in the best, deepest way possible? Hopefully that helped you, the core problem planner. I know this is a while ago you asked that. If you can grasp the last few minutes, you become the 1%. Super true, Jeff. Sorry, James. What's up? Let's go, James. Can you give us an example with a problem? I'm noticing these are a while ago. Hopefully that helped you. Truth nukes. Yeah, you guys bring back the truth nukes. It's awesome. Yes, please. What problems are you solving for us? Explain how you'd articulate it to us. All right. I believe that a lot of you guys know that you are convinced a funnel works and you have already tried it, but you have failed and you can't explain why. And many of you run to tweaking things on the page as to the reason why you're not selling. And that's just not true. It has nothing to do, funny enough, with your offer. It has everything to do with everything that influences the offer, everything that I'm talking about right now. Okay. I'll get more and more clear on what that is. I love Alex Sharfin's statement. He calls it a client-centric mission. And I've been getting more clarity on mine. I started writing it about a year ago, but I'm not ready to reveal what that is yet. Anyway, should be a lesson. This stuff doesn't need to be perfect for you to take action. You actually can get massive, massive revenue coming to yourself without being perfect at this. That's why just so many people don't know this stuff, that even an awareness of it drastically increases the likelihood that you're going to be successful, right? Which is why I've been walking through it. Yeah, exactly. And offer creation is the problem Stephen is leading us with, and that's why we are here. Exactly. But we haven't even gotten to it yet because I know that that's not your real issue. You want offer creation, but I know what you need is all the stuff I've been going through. So I lead with what you want. More problem, more money. That's a very false statement. More money, more problems. I'm not trying to throw any rocks here, but that is a that is a broke person mentality. More money, more problems. No. More money, different problems. Problems don't end. They just change. Question, how, when, and where would you ask the problem and tell them what it is? Hopefully what I walked through ahead of time. I know some of these questions are coming from a while ago. I am worried that you won't stop now. Good. When you trade or sell funnels to others, do you just keep it running them all in your own ClickFunnels account? No, you're not supposed to do that. It actually is against the terms of ClickFunnels. So I'm not going to speak for ClickFunnels here, but my experience has been that you're not supposed to run multiple businesses of other people in a single ClickFunnels account. You can run your own multiple out of your own, but you can't run a bunch of literally separate businesses inside of a different account. I was one of the last to sign up for the certified partner, just finishing up now. Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Love these 4 definitions. Looked it up on YouTube. This is literally the title. Shark Tank, worst pitch ever, number 5, sticky note holder. That's the one I was talking about. Let's see. That was me on Shark Tank. Don't disrespect. You're one of those sticky note frame things, no market. Okay, just making sure that I covered it, which I think I did because I just blasted through the last 2.5 hours. I can't believe it's 2.5 hours. What are the 2 books recommended earlier about big entrepreneur, small? Play Bigger was for big entrepreneur. Niche Down was for small. That made the most sense about publishing. Knowledge Bomb, Done Entrepreneur. This is serious crap. It's very serious crap. Let's see. Wait, should we publish? If you want to. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Clear as crystal. Steve, I've never heard of any of this. Is a way to grow a company, but I can see how it works. Thank you, Steve. This is brilliant. Awesome. Almost caught up. It's probably annoying to sit and listen to, but I'm just making sure that you guys are getting value. Steve for president, go and create a funnel to impeach Trump. I love Trump, so no. I'll build him a funnel so he can be a second round. I have attended OFA in January. Man, this is really different. It's very different. This is my own content. I teach Russell's content in OFA. Good question. Why don't we organize questions with the question at the beginning of the message? You can. Yeah, those are all methods. And we're not even in sales message creation yet. I thought I'd be able to get to it right in this session, but I can't. We'll do it in the next one. Next session will be specifically sales message design in conjunction with how you create your core offer that solves the core problem now that you've identified it. Russell warmed up the audience by making sure he let them know how close he was with Grant. He shows the audience, oh yeah, how did you find the core problem in a saturated market? It's a lot of homework, exactly as I was just bringing you guys through. Not just good crap, insane crap. This is elementary. But if the OFA is surface, where can I further my training and go deeper? This is not elementary. It means you're a genius. Congratulations. How is this free? I'm an ultra planner. Ultra paneer. How to be sure core problem we're just ranking correctly seems really subjective. Yeah, the reason why I can't answer a lot of questions about the core problem planner is that I don't know your markets. So you gotta go in and start learning the stuff about your market. I can't tell you, yes, that's good enough to move forward, right? Because a lot of it has to do with in relation to not just the market, but how well your competition knows their market as well, right? The 30K, $10,000 events were already type 1. They're looking for Blow solutions. So for good. Can we get details on how you do the live broadcast? Maybe another time. I'd rather just dump out the content. Why do you love Trump? We're not even going to go into that. When you are electing the core problem, how do you identify the information coming from the type 1 group? When you're electing the core problem, how do you identify the information coming from the type 1 group? I make sure that I am trying to find those people who are using the red ocean that I'm selling out of or to or connecting with, and I'm just gathering their problems. Do you do one-on-one calls? No. But the best way to do that kind of thing is go to myofferlab.com. I attended OfferMind and it was incredible. Hey, super cool. Thank you. You're awesome, man. Have started publishing because of you, Russell, my mentor. Third strike. Third strike. Can't wait to meet you one day. Sweet. How do I learn from the market the best way? You guys, I am not here to answer all of your questions. Okay. Merry Christmas. Welcome to entrepreneurship. This is the game of solving problems. So start asking those. Where do you think you could ask a bunch of people who are all similar, who are all using a similar product, certain kinds of questions? Go to groups, go to forums, get active. You need to get out there. You're not going to learn all this stuff by being an introverted person sitting behind a computer. I actually am. Outside of I learned how to speak like this. I learned how to go and be active in all these different places. You understand? There are so many things going on inside a new person's brain when they hear this for the first time, and they look for me to answer it. That's not their real question. Their question is, Stephen, dang it, I'm feeling the pressure of having to move forward and take action in my life. Can you just teach me something else so I feel the semblance of motion? I will not grace you. I feel empathy for where you are. I feel zero sympathy. Okay, well, tough love moment there, but you understand, I have brought a lot of people through the process now. This is highly, highly thought through. This is highly practiced. And for me to sit back and try to answer all your questions, I will not do you that's a disservice, and I will not pleasure you in that manner. You understand? So please go own your own business. And now that you know a lot of these frameworks, get to know who you're selling. It's not a check the box thing. I continually am learning more and more and more and more and more about who I'm selling. Okay. And as you do that, as I do that, I get more clarity on who I sell, what I won't sell, who I won't sell. And I get more polarity on that. And it's not apologetic, but it is to go and actually protect those who do buy from me so I can actually focus more with them. Okay. So I'm not yelling at anybody. Please don't feel like I'm singling anybody out, but understand that I am very clear in my positioning and I am not apologetic at all. And I need you to know that so that as I keep moving forward, you know, like, oh man, Stephen expects me to own my own crap. Stephen expects me to know my own business because he can't know his and mine. Okay. So use these frameworks and start moving. I will not give any kind of pleasurable distraction to you taking action. It is time for you to take action. All right. And if you're like, oh, that's usually where people freak out on me, but I need to know the rest of the secrets. Are you kidding me? What? You know what I'm saying? My friends, we'll see you guys later. I'm going to take a break here, and I'll be back here at 2 p.m. Mountain Time, and we're going to go through and we're going to talk about how to craft your core message and offer at the same time, and a very proven template to do so. It is actually how I went in and created my first product after I left ClickFunnels. See you guys later. Bye.